What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
It's
What's
good,
the
bro.
word, man? How we living today, baby?
Oh, enjoying life.
Nah, that's
Loving
what I
it.
like to hear. That's what I like to
How's everything
hear.
with you?
Man, things are good. I can't complain. Starting week 2 of my enlightenment tour. Getting one with myself, mind, body, and soul. Continuing to feel good and just more in tune with what makes me happy.
Do
So
you have
can't
any
complain,
perspective
dog,
for
man.
us?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
find
So put
anything?
well, first off, I'm finding out that in times where I might feel a little out of control because I can't control everything that's going on, whether it's a schedule, whether it's roommates or whatever the situation is, just finding out that, hey, as long as I am one with my core, everything else will be okay. Flowing like water, those type of things, man. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, it's a work in progress for me because I love to be in control, Deke. You know me. I love to be in control. But having to understand that you're not always going to be in control and how to handle said situations has definitely been an enlightenment for me. So, with that being said, that's where I'm at this morning, baby.
Control the things, or no? Yeah. What is it in football? They always say
Oh,
control the
control what you
things
can
that you.
control.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
control
man.
what you can control. That's all.
Right? Like they say that, but then they
I
say
would have
prepare for
assumed you're an
everything,
expert
right?
at it, though, right? You played 9 years in the
Man, look,
league.
they tell you control what you can control, but then they say, hey, man, you got to go ahead and hedge your bet, too. You got to make sure you account for all the hidden variables so it makes you obsessed, it makes you go crazy. And then you're like, I don't think that this is normal. I don't think I should feel like this.
It seems like
Man.
you're really grateful too, through
Hey,
some of your text messages.
I can't stand you. I'm really grateful for you, Deke. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the chat. I'm grateful for everybody that tunes in with us. Grateful for my family. That I think about it, I just want to give a big thank you to YouTube. YouTube, thank you for this opportunity.
Seriously, if they didn't exist, we wouldn't be here.
No, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. But that's just where I am, honestly, with it, man. I feel good. I'm feeling mentally clear. So yeah, that's the big thing for me, right? Just finding that peace with it. So yeah.
Good to
But how are
hear.
you doing, man? Are you missing me a little bit? Just a little bit?
Oh yeah, I'm missing the
All
live
right.
shows. I really am.
Okay.
This
Okay, I'll just check
Zoom
it, man.
stuff
Just
can't
check it.
account for live shows. It
Okay.
doesn't even match. It's not even close.
Okay, I was just making sure we was on the same page. I'm like, dang, I kind of miss your energy in the building, man. It don't feel the same. All
It
good to see
is.
you.
It's not the same.
Yeah, man. But we making it work, though. We making it work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. These are nice as spin-offs or on
Yeah,
occasions like this. So yeah,
absolutely,
you
man.
can't complain at all. The efficiency of it is actually still pretty
Oh,
impressive.
well, without a doubt, that's what I would say as well, man. So yeah, can't complain, man. Like I said, this is a good process for us though, because we grinded out pretty daggone hard during the regular season. So to take a little bit of time off to both of us to reconnect, this is good.
Hey,
hmm
I don't know how connected you are with socials right now. Do you see
I
the
have,
quarterback controversy on the Steelers team?
I have not. I know you posted something, but I have not been like tapped in just yet. But educate me, don't talk about it.
All right, yeah, you'd like this. So they dropped a Legends Vic card this weekend.
Oh,
A good card, like 97 overall. He'd be like 98,
Vic, that
99 on the
guy.
Steelers team.
That's my guy now.
99 speed. But they dropped that Ben card a few weeks
hmm
ago, whenever he
Right,
announced his
right.
retirement. But you know how
Absolutely.
Vic is in Madden. Like he's kind
He's
of
a
that
cheat
dude. The
code.
speed
Yeah, he's a
definitely
cheat code.
helps. Speed definitely helps.
Yeah.
But I'm on that quest for the Super Bowl, right?
Right, right.
And Ben's been the quarterback the whole time. So I made a ruling. We aren't using the Vic card until we win the Super Bowl with 7.
mm. Well, I would
It
say
ain't
this.
Seven's fault. It ain't Seven's fault. It's just like real life. You can't be blaming 7 for the lack of Super Bowl up to this point.
Wow, dude.
Madden is screwing. There's 2 times I lost
Wow.
connection in like the divisional games.
Wow. Yeah.
Madden's mechanics, Madden's physics are off. So you can't just
Yeah.
blame it on the quarterback. You can't. I think
Okay.
we still win with 7.
Wow. Well, you know what? I love the dedication. I love the commitment. But for me, I would have definitely went ahead and said, well, you know what? It's still an ultimate team because Vic played for the Steelers. So that's what we're going to
That's
go
what I
with.
said. I said
Yeah.
that too. I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? If you are using Vic and you're a Steelers
Yeah.
team, that's 100% fine because
Yeah.
once a
Because,
Steeler, always a
yeah.
Steeler.
And think about your team. You have all Steelers. So it's like, yeah. They ain't played their whole
I'd
career there,
like to
but
use the Vic card. I would.
yeah.
I would have been amped to use it, but you know what?
Yeah.
I just feel like it's the right thing to do. You don't You
Well, I
don't
love the
leave the goat.
integrity,
You
though.
don't.
Yeah, I love the integrity that you're operating with. I love the commitment that you still have to Seven, even in the afterlife of his career.
Well, even this too. Even this too. This might be his last card for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're gonna drop his card next year, depending on rights and what type of agreements are out there.
Now,
so we might have to wait till he gets to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because I always wonder, like, why would it be like that for him? Whereas a guy like Vic or some of these other guys, they can, continue.
Right, that aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. That's the only part.
Some type of agreement with EA, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because Chad Johnson's, there's many guys that aren't in the Hall that they've also been able to drop.
Right, they continue to have cards, yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of
a card or something, man. Hey, yo, Chad, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, people have been calling for it. People in the Twitch chat, they're always like, "When's Moats getting a card?"
Yeah, don't forget me, Ocho. Come on, baby. Because you're right, though. When I was playing, I did have cards, but now that I'm not playing, I don't have a card anymore. You're right. Good call.
You should call them, bro.
Yeah,
because they could drop like a team of the week for you or something next year. One of the weeks that you had a big game.
That's what I'm gonna hit him up like, "Yo, Ocho, you know how I did versus Cincy, baby. Come on now. Which one you want? Okay, or you gonna give me a Cleveland card? Which one? Give me a Baltimore one. I'm gonna make sure I show up in the division games. All right." Oh man, but you know how we do, man. With that being said, shout out to everybody that's here this morning. Let us know where you are tuning in from, and we will give you that big boy shout out right here on the show.
Start us off.
My dog.
C. Des says, "What's up?" from the 540 Virginia.
Let's get it.
Black and Gold Emperor 40. It says greetings from Missouri. Moats and Deke.
Shout out. Okay.
Hobby Berg 420 tuning in from LA. The 213.
Let's get it.
Rashawn Jones.
Too far from me right now, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm over. Like I said, I'm over in was it Ventura? I think is what it is. Ventura, California. Sad.
Okay. You say that, I think of the song, right? Ventura Highway.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
I feel like
Chicago.
I'm about to say I don't know if is that still Ventura, California that they're singing about? I think maybe. I don't know.
Rashawn Jones says listening from the 732. Currently in Hazlitt driving at work. Love y'all, fellas. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes,
couple,
indeed. Shout out to that work life as well, man. Shout out to that work life, baby.
Richard Miller, 814, Erie, PA. Trying not to get used to the morning shows because I know they won't last, but not going to lie. I'm digging getting my workout or my work day started with Moats and Deke in the morning. I think we're all just – I know I'm doing better this week. I feel a lot less tired. I'm on like a new sleep schedule.
I'm definitely on a new sleep schedule. Full transparency. Last week, my oldest daughter wasn't going to school. She was a little under the weather. So I was just waking up at like 5:20, 5:30 to talk to like my middle kids before they would leave. Well, today my oldest is back in school and I was up at like 3:30 talking to her. I said, "Oh Lord, this is gonna be a day."
3:30.
Yes, bro. Because she leaves at 6:30 East Coast.
God.
Yeah, dude.
Is that gonna be a normal thing going forward?
Right now, yeah.
Oh, I gotta okay, so I don't even feel bad about us doing the morning shows then if you're waking up at that time. I have bad feelings. I did a little bit because it's like, man. You know, because I'm still getting up at like 8:30. I'm getting up at a decent hour. You know, you're getting up at 6 something.
Right.
Or no, is it even earlier than that?
No, it's always like 5. It's always like 5.
Yeah, so you'd have to get ready at like 5 something. Jeez, dude. I don't feel bad about it anymore if you're already waking up at 3:30.
Yeah, man. I had to talk to my little lady though, man. I can't have her going to school without Papa talking to her, letting her know she looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? The outfit fire. Got the schoolwork lined up and let's go kill the day. Come on now. Who gonna get you hype except me?
Hey, man, that's integrity too, right? You know, I'm holding down the integrity for the Steelers team. You're holding it down in real life.
Hey, that's how we do it over here, baby. All right. Let's get back to these shout-outs, man. Heck yeah, man. I first got to get my man Bart Basquiato. My dude has been up super early. He said he had a little bit of a rough morning, a little personal situation, but my man has been up here wow right now, man. So big time salute. He's out here in Thousand Oaks, California in the 805
He says he wants to link up for some shrooms.
Man,
he says you're close.
Hey, I didn't say the shroom part. I would love to link up, but unfortunately, I am not allowed to link up right now. I think I'm like zero contact with the outside world. Like I have to be in this little, bubble and, go through this enlightenment to reach full nirvana.
Oh, that's why you had the shirt on.
You know what I'm saying?
I know you always have connections for your shirts.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the situation is. And then for this morning, I went with the Pikachu because my little man, he was wearing, Pikachu for school today, so I was like, all right, we're going to twin. So, yeah, hopefully give me a little bit of extra juice this morning.
Wait. Hold on. Did you set up matching clothes with your kids before you left?
Facts.
No way.
Yes, facts. I even brought certain shoes. I brought certain shoes so that way whenever we decide we want to match, we got something I can go to. Yes, dude.
Look at this, man. The integrity, you being a good father. I mean, come on. You got to give props.
Bro.
No, I mean, that's dope. That's actually dope.
Well, because we have a standard. Like, this is what we're accustomed to, right? We're accustomed to me and my children. You always know we dress alike. You know what I mean? So that's something that's like, even though I'm away, this is at least we can feel connected, right? So it's like, hey, when we talk in the morning, hey, what you want to wear? Okay, you're going to wear this? All right. Let me make sure I get that shirt. Oh, you wearing these shoes? All right. Let me get those shoes real quick. All right. And we'll go like that.
And you could probably talk about it pretty easily afterwards because, oh man, this person gave me a compliment on the shoes. This person gave me a compliment on the shirt.
Absolutely.
That's pretty dope, man.
Nah, man, I salute you, man. You making me feel like a good person over here this morning, man. You better stop before I start blushing.
Read a few more of these chats here. Damon Brown, 478, Macon, Georgia. Got it right this time. In the building.
I'm glad you didn't say Macomb. Boy, I was like, Lord, come on, Deke. How many times we got to do this?
You've been up early doing Chris Carter this morning. Hard work. Don't stop, I see.
Oh, yeah. So with Chris Carter, full transparency, we actually got to pre-record a little yesterday, so it was great. Because otherwise, yes, it would be full-time, round the clock, no type of morning. But yeah. I'm glad that y'all tuned in to Locked On Steelers podcast, man. That was definitely fun, man.
All right, we got someone coming in from the UK here. Dark Donnie.
Okay, shout out to across the pond. There you going.
And I'll finish off with this one.
Yeah.
From your crib. 757 Norfolk, Virginia. DJ Lundy.
Let's go. The crib in the house. Love to hear it. Love to see it. All right. Well, with that being said, man, let's hop into this thing because we got plenty to talk about. Like I said, man, we're going to address some of these potential free agents that we could be bringing in. We're going to talk some NFL draft prospects. Y'all keep sending the emails. We love y'all for that. We appreciate y'all for that. And we're going to keep breaking down these players for that. So, like I said, man, we're going to keep that going. And then we get to talk a little UFC as well because, it was a fight this weekend. And, I don't miss no fights now. Can't miss a fight. So, with that being said, man, let's start with topic numero uno, baby. Potential free agents that we might be looking at. So, today there was there was an article on NFL.com where they were essentially highlighting some guys that could potentially be casualties, right? Whether we talk about them being restructured or just flat out released solely based on where their contract lies and stuff like that. And it was interesting when you looked at some of the names because there could be some interest with some of these players, man, whether we're talking AFC or NFC. So, on this list, a couple of names that they had. They talk about Cole Beasley, wide receiver from Buffalo. Not that I would, know anything about Cole Beasley, the wide receiver from Buffalo or anything like that. I would never smile about a wide receiver from Buffalo. No, not me. No. But Cole Beasley is on this list. Offensive tackle from the LA Chargers, Brian Bulaga, he is up there as well. Kenyon Drake, the running back from the Las Vegas Raiders, he is on this list as a potential cap casualty. Marcus Peters, the corner from the Baltimore Ravens. He is another guy. Obviously, our very own Joe Schobert, he is on this list. And then you get Denver's wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Now, he's up here more as a restructured than a release candidate.
Yeah, but there's no way they're releasing him.
But I say because they just signed him to an extension, I think it was a year ago. But they said he's definitely probably a restructured candidate. But then another guy, you have Trey Waynes, another corner from the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the big name, Carson Wentz from the Indianapolis Colts. Those were the AFC candidates. And then for the NFC, do you have that on your side or no?
Yeah. I'll pull it up.
All right. Yep.
Give me 1 second. I got to scroll up. I was scrolling along with you as you were listing them off. Okay. So this one, NFC, dude. Mm-hmm. First name. Or no, it's the second name. But first name's Landon Collins with the Washington Commanders. Second name, Zeke Elliott. You see these numbers?
Dude,
that contract is terrible.
It's insane, dude.
His cap number is $18 million. His dead cap number is $30 million.
Bro, that's just gross. This make you want to throw up, bro.
Estimated cap space for the Cowboys minus 22 million right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a mess. He might not even be the best running back on the team right now.
And
I mean,
that's the crazy part also, bro, because we saw Pollard really start to take over. I mean, he just looked more twitchier when just healthier. You know, that was the real part about it, man.
Trey Flowers for the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Goldman, nose tackle, Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Higbee, Los Angeles Rams. That's a surprising one. I was
surprised by that as well. Yeah.
It makes sense numbers wise. His cap number is $8 million. His dead cap's $2 million. So you're saving like $5 or $6 million right there.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like they were missing him a little bit whenever he was hurt.
Agree. Yeah, I definitely would agree.
Eric Kendricks. This one's interesting. Eric Kendricks.
You know, I like
Minnesota
him.
Vikings.
You know, I like him a lot now.
Zadarius Smith, Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
His cap hit right now is $27 million. That's insane.
And I hate the fact he had that back injury pretty much all last season, bro. Like, yeah.
Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints is the last one.
He just restructured his deal.
Yeah.
I think that just released a day or two ago. But, I mean, obviously, when we're looking at this list, man, a couple of names that instantly jump off. For me, man, obviously, I thought of Brian Bulaga just because the whole tackle position. Yeah. And we know he's a proven commodity. He's 32, so he's still not overly old in terms of the O-line position. Veteran guy, Pro Bowler and things like that. But we also know that, you know, he was dealing with a little bit of an injury situation, you know, this past year. Another guy I thought of was Kenyon Drake, because we're talking about how, you know, we need another running back, a number two Najee.
Oh, yeah.
And Kenyon, I mean, he's already shown that even when he went out to Arizona, leaving Miami, that he could bring that to the table. And then obviously, even when he went to Vegas, you know, him and Josh Jacobs. So with that, it's like, man, he's intriguing. As much as I don't like to do the division talk, Marcus Peters is another guy, because we said, man, if we're going to lose a Joe Hayden potentially, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to improve our secondary, we know we love a J.C. Jackson. We know we were really, you know, infatuated with a Stephon Gilmore. But if those guys aren't available to us, or we just feel like they priced themselves out, then a Marcus Peters potentially becomes intriguing as well. Just because you know
coming
he's
off the torn ACL,
right? So you know the number is going to be a little bit lower for him, but he is a proven commodity, an All-Pro, Pro Bowler caliber player who gets he gets turnovers. That's what he does. And not only would you strengthen your roster, but you would also hurt your division by, you know, taking one of those key players away. So he was interesting to me as well. And then obviously Carson Wentz, just because when we're talking about the quarterback situation, we know that we have a lot that is in play right now. So initially, those were the names that jumped off to me from the AFC, you know. But what about you, man? Who'd you have jump off to you, man?
I'm with you. Brian Bulaga. I'm not like head over heels for getting him, but at the same time, he's a guy. He's been around the league. Everything that you mentioned, you know, he can play the positions, banged up a little bit older, but he'd be an upgrade whoever we got right now. Yeah, so that would be intriguing. I don't think you pay out the wazoo for him, but if the Chargers cut him, we get him for $5 or $6 million, that could be a significant upgrade for us.
Well, and because I do think that you could make a case in terms of the money with him, because with him coming off of the injuries, like I said, with him being a little bit older as well, you know, you negotiate a little bit better, a little bit more of a, not overly incentivized, because we know the Steelers don't do a lot of those type of contracts, but just where you can protect yourself a little bit in terms of first year money versus that second year money with him. I mean, almost in a similar sense to like what we did with Trey Turner. Now, obviously, his number would be a lot higher than Trey's, because he's a lot more of a proven commodity and he plays a more higher end position. But I mean, he would become an instant upgrade. He would, no question, be our best offensive lineman if you bring Brian in here. So when you're talking about building up our roster and we're saying, well, hey, man, if we're sticking with the quarterbacks that we currently have in-house in terms of Mason, in terms of Haskins, or even if we're drafting a rookie quarterback, then what do we say we want to do? We want to build up everything else around him. So a Brian Bulaga type would definitely fall into that category right there.
Yeah, and as you could see on NFL.com, we don't have as much cap space as we were initially thought a couple weeks ago going in. Now we're down to 28. Hopefully we could get that to maybe 40 or 50. But my point in saying that is we still got to spend wisely. It's not like we just can go out here and be shelling out money left and right. So he could be a nice just piece to add, you know, a guy that's going to start, but you can get him at an affordable price. You know what? Cole Beasley, little speedy slot guy.
Absolutely.
I think could be a little intriguing. I'm surprised you didn't bring him up.
Well, you know, I didn't want to sound overly biased. I was waiting on you to bring him up, but come on now. You know, I love a Cole Beasley type, man. First off, he's tough as nails. I mean, you cut the tape on Buffalo games, man. He's going across the middle. He takes shots. He does not care. He catches that rock. He holds on to it. I like his run after ability. I've also seen him play while injured. Not this past season, but the year before. He spent the whole second half of the season with a knee injury, and we talked about how he still was producing in terms of catch numbers and yardage after the catch. So for me, man, when you talk about a sure-handed receiver, a guy that can create separation in a hurry and who gives you just more run after the catch ability, I mean, think about how we use Ray McCloud. Cole Beasley is like what you want in that position in terms of the productivity, in terms of just the route running and the savviness of being quarterback friendly. So yeah, it's a no-brainer if a Cole Beasley type is available to you and it makes sense numbers wise. Yeah, I would definitely be all for that.
You think they will cut him?
That's the interesting part right now, man, because with Buffalo, I mean, they're stacked in the receiver room still. They have a lot of talent, man. So I could see them potentially saying, you know what, we're going to allow him to test the mark, or we're going to go ahead and release him so that way Gabriel Davis can have an even bigger role, because he's the guy that's really starting to expand on. Granted, he's not a slot, but it's just different, you know, because okay, contract's about to be coming up for Gabriel. He's going to be getting.
Well, they're losing Sanders too, though, right?
Yeah. So it's like when I think of that, it's like, man, I could see them staying with Cole, but I could also see them saying, you know what, we want to get younger. We want to get just a little bit cheaper version at that position, honestly, man, because they still got some guys they got to pay offensively and on the defense side of that ball.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But Josh Allen's contract and stuff, too.
Right, that's the difference, yeah. So it's like you can't keep everybody when you got the quarterback getting 100, you got a linebacker getting paid, you got a corner getting paid. You know, like it's just not how it works. They already got their O-line paid, like. Everybody can't get paid, baby. Not here.
Right, and that's the reason you're paying Josh Allen is because
exactly.
Okay,
it's a force multiplier.
Because we've done it how many times with Ben?
Right.
We got to let this receiver walk. We're gonna draft the guy. He's gonna fill in just fine.
Man.
So that's why you pay Josh Allen. We let Cole Beasley go. Man. All right, we could draft the guy in the second or third round. Yeah. Same production next year. Same production, if not next year and the following year. He's gonna be fine for us on a rookie deal, though. Now we can spend that money elsewhere. Yeah, I also have Trey Waynes just for the fact he's a quarterback or cornerback, and I think he's going to be cheap, first-round talent. It's not like he's lived up to that bill throughout his career, but, I mean, we could get him in for a few million or something. Yeah, he's solid.
Trey's been a good player. Like, he's a starter in the NFL. He's not a all-pro caliber guy. He's not a, shadow the number one receiver type of guy, but he is a good quality starter. You win with guys like him. I like his length. I think that he's very fundamental. I like how he gets hands on receivers. That's the other part I like about him. He's not a and run guy. He is a bump and run guy, which is a big difference to me when you're talking about the NFL level with allowing some of these receivers to have free releases. So yeah, I definitely like him, and I think he would probably be the cheapest option that we can go from the cornerback perspective that would still give us good quality results. But I'm not gonna lie, man. If we're talking on this list, I'm looking Marcus Peters.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
The reason I didn't have him is I just don't think they're gonna cut him. If you think they're gonna cut him, 100%.
That's my thing, man. It's like I just don't know how they, because we're looking at his contract, right? And the cap number 15.5, dead cap is 5.5 if they release him. That's the hard part. It's just like, I don't know, because he's still under 32, and we know that's the magic number, right? You got to be under 30. So he still presents that. Yeah, because
I feel like they're going to try to run it back again, at least with Peters and Humphrey one more year. That's my guess. But if they do, I mean, they're that type of organization where they could cut you and they'll replace you pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
like if they just want to roll with Humphrey and then kind of whoever else they got back there. They one or two of their quarterbacks stepped up.
No, it was Averett. He played really well last year.
He wasn't bad.
That was the guy that we were all kind of surprised by when Marcus Peters first went down. It was like, oh, okay, just attack the guy opposite Marlon Humphrey. But Averett really started to play big, and he really, showed early on in the season that they could trust him out there on the perimeter. So depending on how they feel about him, if they feel like he's played enough that, he's way cheaper of an option, that does potentially become in the conversation. Like I said, I haven't studied Baltimore to that level just yet to see what their true opinions are of Averett versus Marcus Peters right now coming back from an ACL injury, But That is something that is always in play because we do know the business element of it. And who else do they got to get ready to pay also in Baltimore? Their
Lamar
quarterback.
Jackson.
So we know.
Yeah, that's going to happen this offseason.
Exactly. So it's a lot that could go on with that when you're trying to create that money the way that you want to create it, man. So that's why I'm just like, I don't think that's the number one person on their list to release, but I don't think that he's completely above reproach there when you're talking about potentially having to, shell out mega money for Lamar Jackson, and you're looking and saying that, hey, we already had a guy play a full, essentially 17-game schedule, and he wasn't, he was actually playing pretty good for them in terms of Averett. So that's my only thing with that, man.
All right, how about this game?
Yeah.
Marcus Peters or Stephon Gilmore?
Man. Well, Gilly's obviously the way more consistent player, the way more high-end talent, but he's also going to be a lot more expensive. And that's the other part of it. So
Peters' cap number at 15 right now, you think that drops to 7 or 8? Because what were we talking about with Gilmore? We were saying like probably 10 for him.
Yeah, we're saying anywhere between
at
10,
least.
10,
Oh no, actually,
10,
Spot Rack
15.
had him at 14 a year.
Mm-hmm. Because I think he's going to get anywhere between I think he'll probably tap in around 15, honestly.
Okay, so yeah, Peters, you're thinking more at 10. That's my thing. He drops
right.
to.
So
at those prices, who are you thinking? Are you leaning Peters maybe?
But at the same time, it really is going to depend on what the quarterback situation is. If we're solely rolling with Mason Haskins or rookie quarterback, then I don't mind spending out that extra $5 million to go get a Stephon Gilmore, because I think the higher end talent is only going to help us out. But if we're trying to potentially, play play at both sides and kind of get us a bridge quarterback from free agency as well, well then
we won't have
Marcus
the money.
Peters because it's a little bit cheaper, right? Because it's going to be just way too much going on with that.
Man, Gilmore at 32.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Peters 29. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But the thing too, though, Gilmore is way more fundamentally sound, so I do feel like he will.
Yeah, even at this point in his career,
he's going to age like a fine wine. Whereas Marcus Peters is very easy. He does not necessarily read the route. He doesn't really have nice fundamentals. He just has great ball skills, and when he's playing in coverage, he's looking at the quarterback the whole time. And that's why we say he's susceptible to the double move. He's susceptible to those type of things. But we also know his ability to just get his hand on the football is uncanny. Since he's gotten to the league, I mean, it's shown. The track record speaks for itself. So they both bring different things to the table. I just think that Gilmore is a more down in and down out, surefire guy out there. Was with Peters, you have to be concerned a little bit that he could get hit with a double move. And also, when you talk about both their temperaments, Stephon Gilmore, you're not going to get in his head. Marcus Peters, you can get in his head. We've seen Marcus Peters at times, have situations where there's on field. I mean, I remember we were walking off the divisional round game, him and Antonio Brown. He's going at AB because AB was giving him that work. So it's like we've seen that happen before with him. We've seen him have issues with fans before as well. I'm not saying that it's an end-all, be-all, but when we're talking just the context of numbers and just, when you're saying either or, those are some of the things that we all consider as well.
We're not signing either dude if Peters becomes available to like a 3 or 4 year deal, right? Anyway.
Right.
So that's why maybe the age being 29 for Peters versus 32 for Gilmore is a little bit less of a factor. It's not like you're committing to them for 4 or 5 years.
Right. We're looking for 2 years, 3 years max,
Yeah. Either one. Absolutely. I definitely would like a cornerback, obviously, to pair with Witherspoon. A-Dub.
Now, what about the big you call him A-Dub now?
Yeah.
So he has A-Dub, he has Spoon, he has Kill, like
Spoon.
Spoon.
Yeah, I like that
Spoon.
one.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
just
good
don't know. Yeah, I didn't know which nickname was gonna go with for the guy, But
we'll go with A-Dub for now. No island talk just yet. No island talk.
He's not an island boy.
Not yet. I also got Wentz listed here, but not really in a good way. More just as in if the Colts cut him and we can get him for $10 million. Yeah. I mean, damn. I mean, he still threw for 27 touchdowns and 7 picks last year. You know what I mean?
Well, no. I'm with you 100%. My thing is this. I think the 10 number is going to be extremely low. I don't think he comes in at that low. And even though
probably 15-ish.
Right. And I was going to say, even though we give Carson Wentz a hard time, he still would be our best quarterback without a doubt. That's the nature of it. And that's kind of like how I look at this quarterback situation. I don't want us bringing in anybody that I don't think can beat out Mason and Haskins. I think Carson Wentz, I mean, you bring him in here, he has athletic ability. He has a cannon of an arm. He has prototypical size. He's a proven winner. He's won in terms of when he was in Philly. And even though he, dropped a stinker against the Jags the last game of the regular season, we're not going to act like he still wasn't putting up numbers, while he was in Indianapolis. We said at times this season he looked like he was returning to form. The issue with him is consistency. And that's something that
he makes the bad mistake too often.
Right. And part of it is because of overconfidence. And you get that. And as a player, you understand it, but that's something that you ask yourself, can you kind of rein that in? Can you clean that up a little bit? Because if you can, and it taps back into more of that MVP caliber Carson Wentz that we saw early
he could be Philly, a franchise guy.
That's different. Absolutely. He's a proven QB1 to me. I just don't think that he's proven that he's a franchise quarterback just yet, but he's proven QB1. And that's the thing that I like about him. I think that, if the number is right, and that's the part, because it's like, if the number isn't good, I don't want him for 25 or 30. I don't want him for that, because I don't think that he's proven he's consistent enough to get that. But if you're talking, 20 as the max, and we working our way back from that, now it's intriguing, because I say to myself, well, he makes you a legitimate contender still. You're still in the conversation. Whereas with Mason or Haskins, we're still more speculative, and we're hoping they can continue to develop. But there isn't a guarantee that that's going to happen. And that's the part for me where I just say, how do we, weigh that right there? And I think of certain, like, how does it work? Okay, I say to myself, well, Mike Sullivan, what have we seen with him so far? Well, we can definitely point to the fact that he cleaned up Dwayne Haskins' footwork. We saw that in the preseason. We could point to the fact that we felt that Mason looked just calmer and better at times in the preseason this year, to the point where Haskins couldn't even realistically beat him out. To me, that makes me feel confident in Mike Sullivan, who is the current QB coach, not the Pens coach, our QB coach. So when I think of that, I'm like, okay, I like that. So I say to myself, well, could he continue to have that type of success with the Carson Wentz? And would we be interested in that, or we want to go the other route of drafting a quarterback and just having to mold him from scratch? And that's, my dilemma with it. But a Carson Wentz type, he comes in and he's guaranteed he's your best quarterback on this roster, no debate. It's not is Mason going to beat him out? Like when we say Mariota, it's no guarantee that Mariota is going to beat Mason out. It's no guarantee that Mariota is going to beat Haskins out. Whereas Carson Wentz, we're not having this discussion. And we just feel a lot more confident with his play than a Mason or Haskins type. So that's the only reason, like, for me, he's really intriguing. But I don't want him over that 20. Like, 20 is like like, once we get there, I'm like, I'm good on him because he's not consistent enough to me.
Yeah, I put him in that Jameis Mariota tier. And I'm with you, too. If we bring in Mariota, keep it as a competition. But if we bring in Jameis, he's the starter. If we bring in Wentz, he's the starter. I hate Wentz at the current cap number. Right. And with Wentz versus Jameis, I think Jameis's stock has dropped so much that anything he does right now is like overperforming. Whereas with Wentz, he's been playing these last couple seasons. We saw his last season with the Eagles, terrible. You add that with the cap number, it's just tough. Like his rep has took a pretty bad hit, but at the same time, why would we consider Jameis like that much better than Carson Wentz? I think it's just because he's been a backup, he's been injured, his cap number hasn't been that much. His expectations have been so low, whereas with Carson Wentz, he was supposed to be Philly's savior after they got rid of Nick Foles.
And then when he went to the Colts, he was supposed to revitalize those guys as well and come in there and be, the upgrade to
and he did fine for them. If anything, I think he exceeded expectations coming off of that terrible Philly year. It's just that he made the bad mistakes.
And the Jaguars game at the end of the season is the one that everybody points to.
Yeah, that's the really
when
bad
they say,
one.
man, if you win this game, you're in the playoffs. And, granted, the team as a whole didn't play good, but he's the quarterback. And as we always say, the quarterback, you get the praise, but you also get, the downside of it as well when your team doesn't perform because, he's the guy at the helm of it, man. And that was the unfortunate part. But I just think that, man, if the number is right, he is worth the intrigue because you don't get that type of talent anywhere. He's a top pick for a reason. He was an MVP candidate for a reason. I mean, realistically, like we said, man, if he doesn't get hurt, he probably wins the MVP. We can't say that about a lot of quarterbacks right now. We can't say that about any quarterback on our roster right now. Mason isn't even close to that. Haskins isn't even close to that. Whereas, like, we've already seen this guy prove that he can win games and lead teams in two different organizations. So, to me, that does hold a little bit more weight to me, man.
Well, not even that. I mean, outside of the MVP season, he's had about 2 or 3 seasons of like solid
Yeah.
productive play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's
his
usually
rookie
just
season wasn't terrible. It was, I
Right.
mean, it was a rookie season, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really just that terrible Eagles year. Everything
Yeah,
else
that
has
was
been
it.
due to injuries with
Mm-hmm.
Wentz, because he
But
had
that was the other
another
part.
solid year where he basically carried them to the playoffs with
Mm-hmm.
like Greg Ward at receiver.
I
And then
remember.
last year, when you look at 27-7,
Mm-hmm.
he's strung together a halfway decent
Bro, think
career
about
thus
this.
far. It's just the expectations.
27-7, dude. That is crazy in terms of your touchdown interception ratio. He protected the ball. The problem is, though, when those 7 picks happen, they happen at god awful times at times. You know, when he plays bad, it just seems to happen at the non-ideal moments. And that's what makes you just feel a little like hesitant with him. And then when you look at the contract and you have these expectations, it's that perfect storm where now you get this feeling of, man, I don't trust this guy. Man, I don't really feel confident in this guy. And I think that's more so the issue with him versus him just being a good player or not, because I do think that he is still a good player in this league. He's still young. Like, we can't turn, like, quarterbacks are playing to their 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can't write a guy off that quick. To me, I just don't think that, you know, that's the best case, but it really depends on the financial element of it. To me, 20, it can't be over that, because he hasn't proven consistently enough to be a force multiplier.
Yeah. Kenyon Drake, I like that call. Not at that contract. I was reading in that article, they're like, yeah, this Kenyon Drake contract actually isn't that bad. I'm like, what are you talking about? $8 million a year for him? That's terrible.
That's bad.
That was a terrible deal at the time.
Yeah. But you got to remember, though, when they paid him at the time, he was coming off that hot season with Arizona, and that was the situation. And that's
what was weird about this, they already had Josh Jacobs. Why are you paying $8 million for a backup? Or like a second guy?
But the thing was, though, they were expecting it to be a 1-2 punch, because remember, Josh Jacobs, even though he had been balling out, his usage was crazy high. And the whole thing was, okay, how do you kind of protect him a little bit? How do you kind of take some of that burden off? Because I think Josh's second year was when he wasn't banged up, but he slowed down just a tad bit compared to that rookie season where we were like, he should have been rookie of the year and things like that. So that's, to me, more so why they brought in the King and Drake, and why at the time I didn't hate it, because I said, man, at least they're different style players, and King has shown that, you know, he doesn't mind, you know, being a number 2 or hopping on a moving train in a sense and still giving you productivity because of what he did in Arizona. But when you're looking at this contract now and you're looking at, you know, where he's at in terms of productivity and where he's at in terms of the depth chart, yeah, the contract is terrible. You're paying $8 million to the backup. Why are you doing that? You know, when your starter is a Pro Bowler, or should be, you know, and he's on a rookie deal, it just doesn't look good. Yeah. But and that's my thing. Like,
if they cut him, they cut him and we get him cheap, that could be a nice little 1-2 punch for us.
Yeah. And honestly,
I don't want to trade for him, though, because they're saying if a team trades for him, his cap number goes to 0 for the Raiders.
Right.
That would benefit them, but I don't. How does that benefit anyone else?
Well, tell them it's a package, though. Got to give us Carr, too.
Oof. You know, we'd have to sign Carr, though. That's the only thing.
I know. That's definitely the truth, man. Yeah. But he's an interesting player, though, just because, like I said, man, you think of how he can realistically take some of that burden off of Najee. He's a different style of player than Najee. And it will ultimately just continue to extend Najee's career, because right now, if Najee continues on this pace, it's L. Bill all over again. But at least L. Bill got the first couple of years, you know, at a little less usage. He's hopping
good
right
line,
into this thing.
Bennett quarterback.
Yeah, Najee hopped into this day 400 touches year 1. I'm like, bro, that's insane. Like, if that's what
running
you
into brick walls,
like, man, you're not gonna last long in this league playing like that. Like, that's just the nature of it. So that's another reason why I look at King and I say, man, I think that he's a little bit more intriguing as well. But I don't want to trade for him if they release him. Which I mean, if you're the Raiders, you really have to be considering that, because $8 million for him, you have Josh Jacobs. You can go draft a backup running back. You can go draft a Kenyon Drake type or Kenyon Drake light if you need to. And it's not going to cost you nowhere near what they're paying him right now. And now, if they do release him, now it's a different ballgame. Now you're talking about cutting that price in half at least. And I like that.
100%.
Yeah.
You want to go to NFC?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Well, first one's obvious for me. Eric Kendricks. They cut him, and they might.
No, it's real, because they got a new regime. Remember, that's a whole new staff
regime,
there, man. Yeah.
Bad cap situation right now. They would save, it looks like, around 7 or 8 million by cutting them. I could see it, and if that happens, I mean, he's still considered a top, probably what, 5 inside linebacker in the league right
Listen,
now.
listen.
Good in coverage.
Facts. Good in coverage, gets to the ball in terms of creating turnovers, plays
The
downhill versus
exact
the
guy we
run,
would need.
nimble, athletic, proven commodity, all pro type. Yeah, trust me, I'm a big Eric Kendricks fan, man. I've been watching him for a while now. I mean, the way that he moves, the way he covers in space, the way he matches up with some of the higher end tight ends as well. He's one of those type of guys. Like it's a rare combination when you get the guys that can run with these speedy tight ends, these fast running backs, but still be able to play in the box downhill, take on blockers and stuff like that. Kendricks is the total package. That's why, like I said, man, I mean, how long have I, every time we play Minnesota, who's the first guy I always bring up? Yeah, that Kendricks dude, man. Kendricks, that's the one. That's the one you got to worry about because he is that type of player. But like you said, with the contract, he is not going to be cheap. That's the other thing. So even if they were to release him, I don't think you still getting this crazy steal of a deal. Now,
no, you're gonna have to pay double digits again.
Right. You'll get him maybe on a better deal than what he's currently on, but you're gonna have to pay him double digits. But he's worth it. And that's the part of it. But it really goes back to what we said though, right? If we're going the Carson Wentz route or a higher end quarterback and free agency route, guys like Eric Kendricks probably don't necessarily become in play anymore. But if you're sticking with the quarterbacks that we have in-house and drafting a guy, well, now Eric Kendricks type realistically becomes in play because you don't mind paying, him 10 because his productivity. Think about this. Him and Joe Schobert would essentially be getting close to the same, right? Joe's supposed to get, I think, 9, 8, almost 10 mil this year. He's supposed to get 13 this year. So it's not crazy far off in terms of like the number. But think about how far off the productivity is between those two guys on a year in and year out basis, even dating back to this past season.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why for me, it's like if you're going to go cheap at quarterback, you pay guys like Kendricks. That's the type of people you bring in because they are definitely going to be force multipliers. They're definitely going to help you in a major way in terms of productivity and creating splash plays for you. So that's why we're kind of like at this crossroads of he's available if we go this route, but if we go this route for the quarterback, then guys like him aren't available because it's just going to be too much money being spent now.
It makes the Mason option a lot more appealing, especially when you're talking about Mason versus Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, if we have Mason, that means we could bring in maybe Kendricks if he's cut, and then also Stephon Gilmore. Then could we add like Cordell Patterson on offense? If you're telling me we could do that, and then if we bring in Wentz, we got to go bargain on all those positions. It almost makes you like, yeah, let's roll with Mason. Let's see what happens. Because the difference between Wentz and Mason throughout careers, yes, it's significant. But for next year,
it's significant.
For next year, could it be not as significant?
Right.
Or could Mason actually even play better than him? I don't know. Now you're just playing percentages on if he could do that or not.
Yeah.
It feels like Colbert and the Steelers organization are high on Mason, though. They're higher on him than anyone else.
Well, because you have to remember, this is a guy that they drafted. When you draft a guy, when you spend all your time, all your resources evaluating him, and then you get him and you feel like, hey, we had this level grade on him. Think about how we grade our prospects now when we talk about him, right? And we're still like, hey, man, we think this guy can go in the second round, but if we got him in the fourth, it's a steal. They could have said the exact same thing about Mason. Hey, we think this guy has a big arm. We think he has prototypical size. We think he sees the field well. I think he's a first-round talent. Oh, he slipped to the second. Oh, he slipped to the third. Let's get him now. So that's why it's like, man, I could understand if they truly felt that way about him, that strongly about him, that they really want to give him the best opportunity. And they could be saying to themselves, we really haven't given him the best chance to succeed since he's been here. And this is the first year where we're really going to give him that opportunity. And that's why it's like, I can totally understand it. If they really, stick with him and go that route, because it just is different when you're the person that has to put your neck on the line for a player, when you're the person that scouts this player, when you're the person that vouches and bangs on the table for a guy like him. Yeah.
Kendricks, Gilmore, Witherspoon, then we still have our draft picks. That could be sick.
Yeah.
We really could put together a good team. I have no doubt that we can make the playoffs this year. I really don't.
We are like, because we have enough pieces already in place. It just depends on how we want to improve this roster. If we want to improve the quarterback position drastically, then you go and get you a higher end guy. You spend. But if you don't want to go that route, then like you said, you roll with Mason or Haskins, or you draft a young guy, And then after that, you boast up everything around him. You have to do that part, but it has to be one or the other. And the beauty is, we're gonna get a chance. We're gonna know within the next couple of weeks once free agency starts, man. We're gonna have a really good idea. If they go out there and they, secure a big name free agent quarterback, or they go out here and make a marquee move to trade for somebody, then it's like, yeah, we know exactly what the idea is by the time the draft gets here. But if free agency is quiet in terms of no quarterback play, but we're seeing them bring in a Kendricks, or we're seeing them bring in a higher end left tackle or offensive lineman, now we're going to kind of have an idea like, all right, this is what it's looking like here.
The thing with Mason that's frustrating right now is people say, man, he could get the job done. Maybe we can make the playoffs, but we don't think he can win you a Super Bowl, or that whole moniker. I don't know if we could say that officially yet. It's just the frustrating thing for me. You know how I am with quarterbacks. I want to know what they're like late game situations, what you're like, all the chips on the table, playoffs.
How do you respond in those moments?
We haven't seen that from Mason just yet. I mean, he did have that last drive in the Browns game to get us back into it within a 2-point conversion, week 17 in 2020. And we missed on that 2-point conversion from what I remember, right? And we only lost by 2 that game.
That's correct.
So that was kind of nice, but I haven't really seen it at any other point with Mason. Sometimes when young guys come in, you could just see the effect. You could just see people do it, like Joe Burrow.
Right. We said even Lamar. We saw when Lamar came in. We saw, we can go down that list of core. Even Baker, to an extent, when he came in early on, you could see, all right, this dude has a little bit something here. He's whatever you call it, he has some of that. Now, it ain't consistent enough, but we saw flashes of it at least.
But with Mason, I'm just wondering, do we need to see more of him? That's all. Can we give him some of the benefit of the doubt? It's just frustrating for me not knowing. I know what Kirk Cousins is. I know what Jimmy. I know those dudes. It's just like Mason. Could we see him in a matchup versus the Chiefs in the playoffs? Could we see him in a matchup versus the Bills against Burrow? Could we see that? Right now, it's looking like no, so but daunting, I don't want to write it off completely. That's all I'm saying.
No, I like that approach. I do like that perspective on it, and because you are right. We did, a lot of guys from that first season just wrote the book, wrote him off and was like, yo, he's trash, he's done. But like we said, he's every time.
And I understand why.
But at the same time, it's like, man, how many young players have we talked about that struggle in their first year? How many young guys do we talk about have to make that second year leap? And he is a guy that we've seen constantly improve. Every time people brings up negative things about him, it mainly is about that first season. And that's the part where it's like, man, if you're judging this guy solely on that first year, I do think you're doing a little bit of a disservice to him because he has shown improvement. He's already shown that. We just haven't seen a big, large sample size of it. But I do think that he has grown a lot more from that first season.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to talk about clutch moments, let's give him some credit for the Lions. It wasn't he wasn't the reason we lost it in overtime.
But think about how many people put that on him. Oh man, he missed that throw in the end zone to Ray. It's like, okay, yeah, he missed that throw. But what about the other throws that he did make? You can't minimize what he did do because of this one error that he had. He's not perfect. That's the reason why he wasn't starting. But at the same time, it's like, no, he's shown that, hey, in a critical situation, in a situation where nobody really could prepare for Ben getting COVID the night before, how crazy was that? It's like, man, he goes out there, short notice, crazy weather. Don't forget that also. And he still had this team in a position to win. So for me, man, I don't look at that as a negative. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. The defense let up. Was it 200 plus yards on the ground for the Lions?
And it was like, who's these running backs? Yeah.
Yeah, no name.
That's not even Barry Sanders Swift out there, dude. Seriously, man. Yeah. It wasn't even Williams. Think about it. It wasn't even Swift or Williams.
No, there was one guy. It was their third one that really busted off. He busted off the 50-yarder.
Exactly, man.
Another name I have, I think these are the only two I have for the NFC, is Eddie Goldman.
Oh, okay.
He could be a nice nose tackle compliment for Alualu.
Yes, indeed.
If not the guy. I mean, he could be the guy to start off.
Well, and you got to think, too, man, with Tyson coming back from an injury, he could definitely have the nod early on. And I like the fact that he's young. He's 28. So he is a guy that you potentially get on a multi-year, like a 2 to 3 year deal, and he buys in, similar to what we saw with Tyson. I could see a guy like that, man. He's already accustomed to playing on good defenses, so he knows what the standard is. He's played with elite talent, Khalil Mack. He knows, what that standard is like playing with guys like that because it's different. When you're on the field with a guy that's a depot guy, it hits different. You know, their integrity, their work ethic. It challenges you. It motivates you in certain aspects as well. So yeah, with Eddie, man, he's definitely a guy that will be intriguing, man.
Yeah, because I don't think Higbee's going to be available. Do we
Yeah,
really want him? Does he take away from Fryermuth's development?
right. And
I mean,
Landon,
yeah, we would
I
like
don't
him
want
as the second guy, but
right,
there's no way he wants that. He's a
right.
legit starting tight end in
No,
the
no,
league. He's
without a
really good.
doubt. Like our thing is, we just think that Pat is going to develop into that caliber player, and we
Better.
think that we
I
don't
think
want
better.
right. Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, we just don't want to do anything to hold that growth back. You know what I mean? That's the whole part with me right now. So I'm with you on that. The other name was Zadarius Smith because obviously we're always looking for an extra edge rusher. But for me, man, the back injury, dude, you miss, was it 14, 15 games? Now, granted, he came back and still played well, but that's a lot of time to miss with a back injury, man. And once you start getting those, it just makes me nervous that it's going to linger. And if it lingers, now we're, giving you this bloated contract, but we're not getting you on a week in and week out basis. And now we're just going to be feeling bad about ourselves with that.
Okay, so you're having him starter over Highsmith. Like, there's not as much of a rotation then.
Well, dude, no. They would still, like, Alex is still going to play. Don't get it twisted. It would be not a three-headed rotation, but Zadarius is Zadarius for a reason, bro. Like,
oh, no, he's good.
Alex doesn't have the track record that Zadarius has. That's just the nature of it. And he's done this at multiple spots. Zadarius is as good as advertised. Man, you know how I talk about Zadarius. When he's healthy, bro, I love him as a pass rusher. I think that not only does he utilize, great get off, but his hand placement, his rush plan, and I love the fact that he's having fun. He always celebrates afterwards as well, man. He's just a fun dude to be around when you watch him on that field. He's a leader. Alex can grow and develop into that, but Alex is not that caliber player just yet. And that's why for me, it's like if you're going to bring him in, yeah, it just makes your room that much better because Melvin Ingram wasn't even on Zadarius' level right now. You know what I mean? Like Zadarius is a starter. He's the all-pro caliber guy. Like, that's what he is. We hope Alex Highsmith can grow into a Pro Bowler. But Zadarius is an all-pro. Like, to me, it's just, that's why I'm like, it's not a slight at Alex. It's just, this guy has already proven what he can do, and he's done it in the recent. It's not like, he was an all-pro 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's like, nah, this dude was all-pro a year ago before he got hurt. Like, that's what he is.
That's what can make it tough, though, because his contract still probably be in double-digit range.
Yeah.
We're trying to pay that for an outside linebacker, even though we have TJ and Highsmith right now. Yeah, he will be an upgrade over Highsmith. Right. But then if you're also rotating Highsmith in to just pay that much money, it's different with Ingram. $4 million. So if we did $4 million for Smith, it feels like an amazing deal. But I don't think that'll be his contract.
That's not happening. Not even close to that. And for me, if we're talking about paying double-digit money to a linebacker, I don't want to pay it to an outside guy when we really need inside guy. You know what I mean?
That goes to Kendricks. Yeah,
absolutely. That's kind of like my whole thought process with it, man.
Zeke?
But no, man, that was
You thinking Zeke?
Not a chance, bro. Not a chance. I'm all the way cool on Zeke. And I used to be a Cowboys guy. I'm all the way cool on Zeke. Don't want to touch that. Don't even mention that around here. You keep that, Jerry. You keep that, Jerry. But can I interest you in a Pollard though? Is he available?
Yeah, he'd be a nice compliment for Najee.
Absolutely. Come on now. That's funny though, man. All right,
Michael Thomas obviously staying with the Saints.
Yeah, he just restructured, so we're good. Yeah, so I feel like we're pretty much on par with the same people in terms of Kendricks. Yeah.
Goldman.
Kendricks and Goldman. I probably Kendricks 1, Goldman 2 on that list from the NFC. Yeah.
AFC. AFC's more.
Yeah, AFC
Beasley,
had like multiple names, dude.
Peters, Wentz, Kenyon Drake. That's not even including Joe Schobert. Just as like restructure, come back on a cheap deal.
So it's a lot more interesting names in the AFC, a lot more feasible guys, and a lot more guys that just make a lot more sense money-wise. I don't know what these NFC guys are doing with these contracts, but yeah, y'all executives, y'all stay over there. In fact, I should have negotiated my contract with an NFC executive because clearly they pay over there. The AFC, these contracts are all, hey man, we're gonna make sure that it's not too crazy. We're gonna take care of you like this, but make sure the team is safe. Yeah, if I do it again, I'm going to the NFC.
Don't forget about that Zeke contract. How much we talked about it that offseason.
Yeah,
him holding out.
It was in Cabo. I remember that.
Zeke's the reason for Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, I was kind of in that camp. I was like, bro, you need to sign
Mhm.
Zeke. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
Dak's going to be the same without him, but
I was too, because to that point,
I've proven to
nobody
be
had
really
looked
foolish
anything,
on that
man.
one.
To that point, nobody looked like Dak didn't look like he could do it without Zeke, and Zeke was that guy. But yeah, man, Tennessee dudes, man, they pay over there. I like that a lot, definitely.
You want to get these super chats?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, roll through these.
I'm a little
supers, and then
behind
after-
on these.
Okay, so we'll roll through these, and after that, we'll go to this next topic just to make sure we're still good time wise. But what's the first ones you have, and I'll see how far I am from
I
you.
have Dave Dupree.
All right. Oh, okay. So I got a couple in front of you. All right. So
Okay.
first is from Nick's Bro. He says, Nick. He says, Moats, where you get your shoe collection racks? Oh man, the clear boxes. The Container Store. Yeah. So just type in thecontainerstore.com. Yeah, and I get I do the large boxes because I think those can fit a 13 to size 15. I wear 13, so a lot of my shoes are like perfectly fit in there, but they also have smaller boxes. They have them in the clear like you see, and also in the black. But the Container Store, yep, that's where I get those at, man. Love them, actually. All right, Najee Loud Pack, shout out to the name, by the way, big fella. Moats, so I've been hitting on sneakers. Bro, you lucky as heck. I don't know how the heck you hit on sneakers, but I never hit on sneakers. I take all the L's. But he says, so I've been
All the
hitting on,
boss.
yeah, he said, I've been hitting on sneakers on everything I've wanted for the last 4 months. Even got exclusives. I got the Brotherhoods. How you feel about them? Dude, I love them. And the fact that you're hitting on sneakers, I'm low-key jealous because I'm team delayed win. Okay? I never hit on sneakers, so I always have to pay a little bit extra when people first start doing the resale. I try to catch them right in the moment before they know what they got. But dude, that's dope as heck, man. You don't have to teach me your ways, man, because you're like a Jedi master for you to be hitting on sneakers for the past 4 months, bro. That's all I'm saying. And you got exclusives. You might get some regulars on sneakers, but you're not getting exclusives consistently. So salute you for that, baby. All right, let's go, UW. Oh, I was waiting on my man today because the combine is starting. So here we go. He says, "Sup, Deke Moats. Hope y'all ready to see my man Chad Moon will run a 4.4 or 4.5 at the combine tomorrow." Yes, the combine, ladies and gentlemen. We will talk about the combine later on this week, especially once these guys start testing and doing a little bit more. We're definitely going to talk about that. But I'm ready to see what Chad runs, man. If he go out there and run that 4.4, we talking for real. Like that's legit now. All right.
Let's go. UW's going to be smoking the Arthur Experience with Deke podcast, Pat.
No question, bro. He ran that 4.4. Yeah,
what's your guess? What's your over/under guess for him?
I say 4.5. I go.
Oh,
4.5.
Really?
Yeah. What you think?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think
I'd
4.5.
say over that. I'd say
over
over
like
that.
4.56, 4.57, because I think of like what I ran when I came out. Right, my laser time was 4.62. My laser time was 4.62, 4.63, but my hand time was 4.56, 4.57. So I'm saying if I'm running that, I think that he moves better than me. Just watching him, I think that he's a more fluid runner. I think I was more explosive coming out of my stance, which is why I was an outside guy predominantly versus the inside guy. But I think that Chad's a smooth runner. I think he's a long strider too. I mean, he's a taller guy. So I think of him kind of like in the sense when you watch TJ Watt run. TJ doesn't necessarily look like a blazer, but he's still deceptively fast. He still covers a lot of ground. And when I watch Chad, I can easily see him having a situation like that, man.
Here's what I'm wondering then. Like if he's running, if you think he could potentially run a 4.5, what's Dean and like Devin Lloyd running then?
They should be 4.4 guys. 4.4
4.4, 4.3.
Yeah. I don't.
4.3. Yeah, 4.3. 4.3
is fine.
But
The only person I think is 4.3. The only person I look to potentially do that is like a Devin Lloyd, just because of like how
4.39 just barely sneak into it.
You know what I mean? Like, but 4.3 is like that's flying, bro. That like Shea. That's Ryan Shazier type stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that Devin Lloyd could potentially be close to that if he trains, because that's the other thing, bro. With the 40, it's really a lot of like you train for. They teach you how to do it. You still got to be fast, but there's like techniques that help you run faster times if it makes sense. So yeah, so it's like, man, these dudes are gonna go to the best of the best places to get taught the same things that I learned. You know, I was with Otto Bolton. He was a former Olympic medalist as well. You know, and he was teaching me my sprinting things to help me out with it. So everybody is gonna find somebody like that. You know, but yeah, man,
you know who might though? That second Georgia linebacker we were talking about. 41. I can't remember. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Channing Tindall. Yeah. He flies. Yes, he does, man.
He might do that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of his stuff coming off
Yeah.
the edge was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely, man. So yeah, I could definitely see something like that. But all right, next up we got Josh Blanchick. He says, "Sup, boys? Just questioning all this Mason hate. We've got people comparing him to Tommy Maddox and Neil O'Donnell and worse. Shaking my head. Also, everybody hit that like button." Yeah, absolutely, man. We up here waking and baking early in the morning. Shout out to the Roast and Toast crew. It's what? A little bit 350, almost, yeah, about 350 people in here currently, and we only got 87 likes, baby. Tap it up, the thumbs up button, tap it. Then make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe.
Yeah, that's a terrible ratio.
Come
Holy
on,
hell.
bro. I mean, dude, like we were just complimenting Carson Wentz, 27 touchdowns to 7 picks. We gave him love. Y'all can't give us love for our ratio as well. Daggone. And also for YouTube as well, because that just, it'll get more people in our community. So our community can continue to grow the way that we like it, people. Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. All right. Got Gerard Kraft. He says, "No Carson Wentz. Dear God, no." Now, man, now Carson Wentz a God-fearing man, baby. You can't throw God in that because God's going to be on his side. No,
yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, man, I can understand. Like you say, he's polarizing with the contract because of what you broke down, Deke, in terms of the expectations with him and the fact that he's still been playing, whereas a guy like Jameis, who people have really softened on their thought on him, their opinion on him, mainly because, like you said, he's been a backup he's been a backup and has been
$1 million
2
contract.
Yeah.
What was his deal last
Right.
year for the Saints? Like single digits?
Yeah, or maybe it was
Less than
10,
Taysom Hill, which is insane.
Yeah, which was stupid, right? But he got hurt as well, so it was like he played well, then got hurt, and it's like, oh, all right, maybe he is the guy. Maybe he's returned. So a lot more speculation.
Yeah, but that injury just hurts his contract for this offseason. So there's just really no expectations for Jameis.
I would agree, but he did get LASIK. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can see better now. All right, so we caught up now. You're on David Dupree, a.k.a. D Smalls.
Dope. It says, "Just checking in, gentlemen. Got a 10:30 tea time, but wanted to show some support."
Nah, man, major love, man.
Wish I could live it up like Dave Dupree, man.
Hey,
10:30
man.
tea time. Florida, probably great weather down there.
Come on now, living the dream.
Hey,
right?
it's getting better up here, though. It really is. It's almost golf season.
Okay.
Hey, my brother got some, we were speaking about shoes.
Yeah.
He got some black and gray one lows. I think that just came out for golf.
Okay, let's get
He's
it.
going to resell them, but he's giving me the option. I still need to try them on because he got them at 11. I'm kind of like in that 11 and a half range, so I have to try them.
Yeah,
I might get them. I already got some nice Nikes right now with my Brooks Koepkas. I don't know if I want to be a 2 golf shoe guy.
See, that's my issue right now. I'm like, I can't have multiple golf shoes and not own my own clubs. I just feel bad about that ratio. So I can't buy another pair yet, even though I've been looking at the Air Max.
There's some heat, man.
Bro, I've seen a couple of the Jordan lines and I've seen some of the Air Max that have come out. And I'm just like, yo, these golf shoes look nice. And
what's funny is I'm a little bit of the opposite of you. I might be caring more about my golf shoes than my real shoes.
Ooh, okay.
Because like I showed out 160 for my golf shoes, my Brooks Koepkas, and then like if I buy these ones, I'll be spending like 170. It's like I wouldn't even sniff that amount for like actual shoes these days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. I care more about my golf, I think, or my golf kicks than my actual kicks.
That is funny, man.
Because I'd probably wear them more. I'll put it to you that way because so much of the time I'm just wearing sandals or Crocs. I'm just going over your house and stuff.
You're a Crocs and socks type of guy, man.
But golf course, yeah, I'm wearing those shoes at least once or twice a week. Then James Hayes says, "Forget that, Moats. You sold me on Malik Maserati."
Oh yeah. The Maserati Malik, man. We were talking about that on the with Chris Carter on his podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were just talking about Mason. He's talking about Malik Willis. And he was like, you got to come up with a name for him because he was like, you got the because he was like, people got the Carson Wentz train, they got the Jameis train, they got this guy and that guy, and I was like, well, I'm on the Maserati Malik train. You know what I mean? Because he's exotic. I mean, the dude, when he takes off, you see the horsepower. You see, that's not regular. That's different. And then he has the cannon of an arm, but at the same time, we know that he still has to develop a little bit more. I was like, kind of like a Maserati. It was fire. So it just kind of hit, perfect, and it just kind of rolled with it. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good name.
I said, I'm with that as well. Now, if we go that
Because
route,
we're both,
give me
we're
Eric
both.
Kendricks.
If we take him in the first round,
Right.
he's probably the only one. He's the only quarterback.
Absolutely.
Him or Pickett. If it's
Yeah.
Pickett, I just
That's
like
it.
Pickett. I think he's good.
Yeah.
Whatever. Good story. Pittsburgh guy. But outside of those two, I don't want to be drafting QB early. I really don't.
Yeah, that's my thought process as well, man. So it's like, yeah, you bring in Malik, then yeah, you make sure you got Kendrick, you make sure you got this guy, you make sure you have that guy, sure. But yeah, Pickett and Malik are probably the two that I'm like settled in on right now, man. And at least until we get some new information.
Yeah. Black and Martyr says, missed the show, guys. Was on a trip and missed the past few shows. Hope all is well. All is well.
Man, we
Thank you.
appreciate you, man. Salute you, baby. Glad to have you back, man. Hope your trip went well also. As we are all out here traveling this time of year, right?
Yeah. Young Shacky. I don't know how you guys feel about this with Juju testing free agency and us needing a burner receiver. Would you take a risk at Michael Gallup? Sure.
I'm not against
at
Michael.
What price?
That's the question. What's the cost? Because I don't think he's going to be cheap. Yeah, that's my only thing, man. But I do like him, though. I mean, why wouldn't I like Michael Gallup, right?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Dude,
really good.
Heck yeah, he can ball, man. He's shown that he's a consistent player, man. He's a guy that you can win with. So, yeah, I'm with that. But I just think price point is the question with Michael. That's the only thing, man. But we're going to talk about some guys potentially that we can get in the draft that could potentially help us at that wide receiver room also, man. So, just hold off for a second.
Let's go, UW. Says NFL just announced the teams playing internationally, and Steelers are not one of them. It's probably good for us.
Yeah, well, we don't have to worry about
less travel.
Yeah, we ain't got to go to. We don't have to travel to Mexico or to London or where else they said they're gonna have a game. I think they said, is it Germany? That's like the next place they're working on having.
I don't know if it's this year, but it is in the near future.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming up, right? Yeah, so it's like at least we don't have to deal with that just yet, you know. But hey, who knows, man? In a year from now, show continues to grow and get bigger. Then, man, maybe we'll have to do a meet and greet across the country, wherever they at. You know what I mean? We pulling up to London. Anybody that's in London, y'all know where we at. Live show. Let's get it.
That'd be real sick.
Heck yeah, man.
Last one we did was, I think it was the year before you came on. It was Vikings game week. It was like week Peterson. 4, week 5. Yeah, Peterson went off against us. That was Bell's debut, though. Yeah. He had 2 touchdowns. So that was cool game. Also bad because we lost, but yeah, we won 8-8 that season. That was just. I think we started off 0-4 actually.
Yeah, that was finished strong. That was
a weird season, man. Really weird. King Stacks. Sup, Big Moats. Sup, Young Deke.
What it do?
Working from home, watching my favorite podcast, Moats. If you can give your rookie self one piece of advice, what would it be? Oh, we got some deep questions here.
No, I like this, man. If I can give my rookie self, be patient and appreciate the moments. You know, I felt like early in my career, I was so locked in on being James Harrison, being Clay Matthews, being Patrick Willis. I obsessed over those guys. And I told people, like, I would, every game, like, after I finished, I don't even want to watch my tape. I want to watch their tape. I want to see what they did and see, hey, what can I do to be more like them? So even though I was having success as a rookie and I was playing as a rookie, and to think, like, yo, you're a 6th round at a JMU and you're starting games, having sacks, beating Joe Thomas, you know what I mean? Like, that don't happen often. But I never really appreciated it because I was always like, yo, I got to catch those guys. They got, 16, 17 sacks year one. Like, dang on. So you never, like, really appreciate it the same way. But that would be the thing, man. Just take your time with it, man. Appreciate these moments and be patient. You'll get there. You'll get the big contract. You'll get, your name out there even more. But it's not going to happen day one. And that was my thing. I wanted it to happen, like, right now. So that would be the biggest thing I would tell myself.
Don't we all?
Right.
Words of wisdom from us.
Yeah, man. In my new enlightened state.
Cal Shears says low-key matchup. Witherspoon versus Jamar Chase. Got to sign him. Sign him and then draft an inside linebacker with the first. Then offensive and defensive line. Trade for a quarterback or sign one. He's got it laid out perfectly. I
like everything you said except the low-key matchup of Witherspoon on Jamar Chase. Don't play that game with us. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just Minka, stay over top. Edmund, stay over top. We not playing that game, okay? I'm just telling you firsthand, all right? I know we like Witherspoon a lot. I know we feel really good about Witherspoon. Not on Chase. Not solo dolo. No. Ask Jalen Ramsey how that went for him. We could go down this list of guys.
You bring up Jalen Ramsey's a good point.
Give him a little help.
Because I was just going to say, Chase got lucky that he dodged Witherspoon this year.
Give him a little help.
Rilla 92. You might have talked about this, and I missed it. Do you think they might have Brian Flores in the wings for head coach like Canada from QB coach to go OC?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I don't really feel that way. We did talk about it, though, early last week, right?
Right. The thing really depends on how long Brian Flores stays and how long Coach Tomlin stays, because both of those guys are fairly close in age. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're talking about Coach Tomlin being, 60, and we're like, hey, man, does he have another 3 years, 5 years, whatever? It's like Coach Tomlin could coach for another 15 years if he wanted to. I don't anticipate Brian Flores being the linebackers coach or even D coordinator for the next 5 years.
No.
The biggest thing with him right now is how this lawsuit affects him getting future employment outside of Pittsburgh. I think that's the big question mark right now with him.
Yeah, I think we have him 2-3 years max. I'm guessing.
That's kind of how I look at it, because after
most likely scenario, I think he bounces after this year, which is fine. Just to add him to the coaching staff for this year is a huge benefit.
And we also know that with Flores, man, typically the way it works in the NFL, right? While it's a hot topic, while he's in the limelight or in the spotlight right now, he probably won't get a lot of opportunities. But 2-3 years down the line, when it becomes hush hush and something else pops up, because in the NFL, it's always something else is going to come up, then teams aren't going to be as hesitant to bring him on. Teams won't necessarily look at him as, the black sheep that is suing us. It'll be like, what, we've already settled this. We're done. He's already been in the league. All right, keep him on. Let's bring him in here now. And I think it'd be a situation like that.
Mohammed Epsemed. I think I said that right. I'm sorry if I mispronounced. Moats, what do you think about Matt Corral? Did you watch any of his tape? Keep up the good work for us.
Yeah. Oh, no, appreciate you, man. No, so I've been watching some more Matt. I need to watch even more of him. I still like him without a doubt, and I think that, he's definitely going to be a good quarterback. My biggest question with him is he going to be an upgrade, or do I think that he is going to develop into a better version of what Mason is? And that's my only thing with him. It's like, I do like some of the things that he does. I think that he has a nice arm. I love the fact that he was in the SEC because he's playing against, higher in competition. And you could see him thrive in moments. But at the same time, I do feel like he had some inconsistent play at times that just makes me hesitant on him, especially when you're talking about that first round element of it. That's why for me, it's just like, I don't like him at 20. Like, if we're talking second, sure, like, he's more intriguing to me there. But then the real question is, are you going to be able to get him where we're picking in the second round? I don't know about that. So that's my dilemma with him. It's like, I don't want him at 20, but I don't think he lasts when we're getting him in the second. So that's why it's like, well, if I got to pick how I want to go about this, that's why I say Malik or Kenny Pickett for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that. I feel like Corral, from the things that I watched from him last season, it was limited. I was like, bro, I'm not that impressed. Now, it could be because I was way more for Kenny for Heisman. Corral was in that discussion. He just looked like more of a college quarterback to me. Now, I know the NFL is shifting, so I could be completely proven wrong by this.
Yeah, it just feels different, man, without a doubt.
Yeah. But so we're all caught up in the super chats? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about 7:13, so let's go ahead and get to this to these draft prospects, man. Some guys that, y'all continue to send emails for, which we are greatly appreciating y'all for that. And, we'll continue to break these guys down. So today, man, first guy we'll talk about makes me a little upset, because he's a North Dakota State guy, and JMU actually lost North Dakota State for the however many time in the playoffs. Pisses me off. But Christian Watson, this dude, I like him, man. A little bit about him: 6'4", 211. Only played 8 games this past season. Their season was like wacky with the COVID stuff, but 43 receptions, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also, is a kick returner. He was all conference kick returner out there. The thing that I like about him though is he has big speed. You watch him when he gets in the field, his acceleration jumps off the screen. When he catches that ball, he's pulling away from defenders. He's also a jet sweep guy, which we know in Pittsburgh. You got to put a
sweep specialist out there, man.
Yeah, you got to put a premium on a jet sweep now, because
he looks like he's better at it than Claypool, at least.
No, he is. He's a more natural runner. I think he's a more fluid runner, whereas Claypool, even though Claypool has straight line speed, Claypool doesn't have real wiggle. He looks real robotic when he's trying to change direction. Whereas with With Christian, he's a smooth runner. He gets vertical in a hurry too. You watch when he gets that ball in the jet sweep, or even on some of the little tosses they give him. He's north and south. He's getting his shoulders downhill, and he's reading and weaving through the protection. Very similar to what you see when he's returning kickoffs. And I think that's why he's such a natural runner with the ball like that. I also think that he's more of a long strider than a twitchy guy, if that makes sense. Like, he's not going to kill you with routes off the line, but once he builds up, he's gone. And that's the thing with him. I think that in terms of him being a blocker, I think that he's not afraid to block.
Yeah.
I don't think he's an overachiever in it, but he definitely put his face in the fan, and I do like that part. To me, he's definitely a true outside receiver. You can put him in a slot, but I think it's more situationally, like in the red zone, or if you're trying to just scheme up a look for him. That's kind of where I think that he really comes into play. But I also like his hands, man. I think that, he catches the ball really good with his hands. But I think ball placement matters with him, because I have seen when the ball is outside of his framework, he struggles to consistently bring those in. Now, at the Senior Bowl, he did a good job of it, but that's a small sample size. And I ain't gonna lie, man, some of the matches I've seen, he was cooking like the same dude over and over. And I'm like, all right, bro, I need to see you versus somebody else, because you just happen to have a good matchup. You know what I mean? But I'm still questioning, though, like some of the knocks I have on him, or some of the concerns I have, is he doesn't appear to be very explosive getting in and out of his breaks. So if I'm playing man-to-man on him, he could struggle to get separation. If you're playing against off-zone coverage and he's trying to run a in or an out-breaking route, because he's not bursty getting in and out of those breaks, a defender with good feet is going to be able to drive on those routes and really make it difficult for him. I also think that even though he's shown consistency with the 50-50 balls, he does it a lot with his body in terms of like cradle catching it. And versus NFL corners, we know NFL corners, they play through your hands. They know how to read the ball and things like that, just at a higher level than what he was facing, at North Dakota State. So those are some of the things that I'm a little bit concerned about with him. But I think that he is definitely a really good player. And yeah, I mean, the big speed is undeniable. It jumps off the screen, man.
Yeah, and I think they had him clocked in at, was it 4.4, and that was back in high school. Mm-hmm. So they're saying he could even run a lot faster than that for the 40, which, dude, I'm starting to think this, though. Why do we care that much about the 40? I know what I see on these highlights. Mm-hmm. I know what I see whenever I'm watching. Yeah. Why do we need the 40s, dude? Well, why isn't hold on. I was going to bring this up, though. Yeah. Why isn't what we saw from Malik Willis whenever they brought up that stat of him actually running in game like the second fastest time compared to all the NFL quarterbacks that were in there last year? All right, he's fast. That's all I need to know. I don't care about his 40.
Because this is the thing. If you're only measuring in-game speed, how often do guys get a chance to show their in-game speed to a extent where they're running 30 yards untouched? You might see a guy burst for 10, for 15, but you just don't know their top-end speed. So this is no different like when you buy a car, right? And the car says, hey, you can go up to 140 miles an hour. You don't have to drive it at 140 miles an hour when you really care more about the horsepower and the torque and how it's actually tuned for when you're just driving it on a day-to-day, but you still want to know that it's capable to tap into that. So when I think of the receivers, that's, my biggest thing with it. It's more so just, hey, if I know this guy runs a 4.3 and this corner is a 4.7, it don't, like, just from, scouting, I know. Okay,
I could coach him. Him on better release. I could coach him on better separation. So he does get untouched.
He's gonna fly by this guy just based on those numbers. So that's the reason with it. Like I said, we joke about it because I really don't love a lot of stock in it, but it does have a context. It's no different than, like the bench press. Like, I don't want to see you bench press 225 40 times, because if you're bench pressing 40 times, then you're probably on your back. But it lets me know that you're strong. It lets me know that you're definitely, stronger than the guy that only did it 4 times. And those type of numbers show up. Obviously you still got to have technique and still be a player, but it's just when you're talking about measuring these guys, it just gives you another element to help you evaluate, just a little bit more context. That's kind of how I've been viewing it.
So I'm with you. He looks smooth, like a smooth runner, also really fast. You can't teach the size, 6'4", 6'5". Also, like the blocking. Obviously, if we draft him, that's one of the highlights that you'll see from Steelers Twitter. People going crazy about, oh, man, this guy blocks like Hines Ward. That's what happened with Claypool. You saw it was like the one time probably Claypool blocked in college.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's lived up to that blocking bill that we all thought whenever we picked him. But
Yeah.
here's one of my questions.
Mhm.
Why not better production in college? Because he's flying up the draft boards right
Yeah.
now. Everyone loves what he did in
Well,
the Senior Bowl.
this was the thing for him. He had, I think, one season with Trey Lance. Then they had their season like cut short. They played like one game. Then they came back, and I
Yeah,
think they
yeah,
were
yeah.
like switching quarterbacks. Like I say, he only played 8 games. The quarterback situation was crazy, but it was more so because of how their school was conducting or handling the COVID stuff. So that's more so why I look at his numbers being what they were versus some of these other guys that we'll talk about.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
why he's flying up the draft
Yeah,
boards.
but
then.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't make it more of a red flag. I just think more so. I want to see him versus just better competition because some of the corners that he was running by, it's like these aren't NFL caliber guys, you know. But you see him at the
Yeah.
Senior Bowl, and it's like, okay, well, this looks a little bit better. But once again, I said I felt like at times he had really good matchups in practice, where it's like you keep going against the same guy. Like I want to see you against this guy or that guy, that guy. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because 800 yards, 7 touchdowns this last year, looking like in 11
Mhm.
games. I mean, those are pretty good stats. I would
Yeah.
just think if he's going up against that competition, it'd be like 1,400 yards, double-digit
Exactly.
touchdowns.
I feel you on that. But the quarterback play
maybe-
does matter.
Yeah,
But
no,
you
100%.
factor in the rushing yards, you factor in the kickoff return yards, you can see he is definitely a player, though, man.
Yeah, for sure. So I like him. Like if we could,
Yeah.
is second round too high for him? You think?
No,
Like
honestly,
third round
man,
would be the perfect range for him.
yeah,
bro.
third round is ideal, but I think for him, man, if he goes out
because
there
of
and
that
runs-
speed.
right? If he runs 4.3 or low 4.4, he could sneak into that late back end of the first round. But I see him realistically in that second or third throw, and it really just depends on how fast he runs. Because it's one thing to talk about, it's one thing to see it on tape. It's another thing when you go out there and actually run it. Think about Darius Hayward-Bay. Like Hayward went super early because of what? He just went out there and put that 4.3 on tape.
And it was the
like-
Raiders. It was the Raiders. They couldn't help themselves.
But think about, but just in all seriousness though, when he put that 4.3 on tape, it changed everything. It changed the narrative. And that's the thing when I look at Christian, if he goes out there and he puts something stupid on tape like that, that's gonna change the narrative about him.
Yeah. So overall, good player. I would like to
Yeah,
have
without
him.
a doubt, man.
Don't want to overspend though. I think third
Yeah.
round would be nice. Second round
Yeah.
wouldn't be terrible just because of the fit for
Mm-hmm.
our receiving group to have that dude with
Yeah.
speed and the size. I mean, he could be a good compliment.
Yeah. I agree, man. All right. Next guy we're gonna talk about. You should be really familiar with this guy. He plays at Western Michigan. Ward number 24. I believe his name is Sky Moore. Sky with 2 Y's.
I wasn't familiar until I
Oh,
watched his highlights.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got flashbacks, PTSD.
So for all my Hell to Pitt people out there, Sky Moore should be very, very familiar to you. He is 5'10", 195-pound wide receiver who absolutely demolished Pitt this year.
He's the guy we literally couldn't stop on a
He was the
simple
guy.
slant across the middle.
He was the
It
guy,
like,
bro. He was
we
the
just
guy.
couldn't stop it.
He was the
It's
guy, bro.
ridiculous.
Yeah, you watch him. My man is filthy, bro. I think he's more of a slot at the NFL level right now, but honestly, man, I think he can develop into an outside guy. You watch him, his footwork is crazy in terms of how quick it is. I love how he steps on toes in terms of getting his release. He stacks receivers well. He does a good job with his hands, also with his arm over move. That was on a highlight versus Pitt as well, where you see him use his arm over when he steps on the toes of the DB to beat him to the point where the DB falls on his face. I mean, he is that type of guy, very quick. I love his route run. I think that he's one of the best route runners in this class right now in terms of what he's able to do to utilize and create that separation. I think that he's a guy that can win versus man or zone, regardless of if it's press or off coverage, because of how good his releases are and how he just understands how to run routes. He's a natural hands catcher as well. And I think that he has really good body control. And he's a tough player. He takes some shots because he's not a big guy. He takes some shots, but he holds on to that rock every single time. And I look at him in terms of his blocking. Think of it more like a feisty chihuahua. You know what I mean? Like, he's not mauling anybody, but my man's got effort. he's gonna throw his little thing in there, and that part is cool. But I think that he's definitely a run after catch guy. When you talk about Yak, we talk about Cole Beasley types. He gives you that same type of run after catch ability. He has a nice wiggle, a nice ability to make guys miss in the open field. Like, he is a really good player. And are you ready for the kicker here?
Let's go for it.
He's from Pittsburgh. He actually played with Coach Tomlin's son in high school. He
so this is over.
So it's over. It's a wrap.
This is locked.
I'm sold, bro.
Is he so third round pick for him?
Come on, man.
Where's Hayward going? Is he going like fifth, sixth?
He's got to go sixth round, right?
We got to slot this out. Yeah, more in the third. Hayward,
but he has a
we already got those
Pittsburgh,
ones locked in.
Yeah, he has a connection to Pittsburgh.
He's from here. Where's he from? What school?
Was it? It's not. Is it Shady Side? I think that's what it's called, right?
Oh,
yeah,
is it?
Yeah, I want to say he went to Shady Side.
Close.
Yeah. Because like I said, him and Coach Thomas' son, the one that's at Maryland. Yeah, they played together while they were there. Yeah, man. So when I found that out, I was like, man, this is pretty dope, man. But yeah,
this is a lock.
Yeah. So with him though, man, like when you cut the tape on, bro, like he just wins. Like I said, I think right away he comes in and he's your guaranteed slot receiver, but don't be surprised if he can develop into an outside receiver as well. We've seen smaller receivers have success on the outside, especially guys that are elite route runners, guys that just know how to get open. And he is that type of guy. And like I said, he catches really well. Like he's a natural hands catcher. So he's a guy that I was definitely intrigued about the more I watched him. And it was just funny, like I said, every time I'm seeing him and I'm trying to like get away from the highlights, I'm like, let me just watch another game, because when he did the Pitt, I'm like, yo, this can't be normal. This had to be just because it's Pitt. But no, he was doing that to everybody.
Yeah.
And
our secondary was questionable at times.
Yeah.
It definitely was.
Yeah, but his numbers show 95 catches, 1,292 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. That's the type of productivity we're talking about. Now, he played 12 games, but you'll see in comparison to these other guys that played 12, 13 games, his numbers are freakish. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. The numbers are good, and that was all in a system that's really not tailored towards him.
No, it wasn't.
An RPO system, which, I don't know, could actually be kind of good for us, if we're doing the RPOs and he's running those slants across the middle, isn't afraid to take a hit. He obviously was able to do that in college, but it looks like there's still some more like untapped with his route tree, right? In terms of running everything. And you said he's a good route runner whenever he was asked to do some of that stuff.
Yeah. I just think that he can continue to develop even more, but he, like, you watch him, man, and there's just certain qualities that you look for in a receiver. And quick feet, ability to step on toes while you're running your routes, natural hands catcher, body control, can win when the defender has leverage. Like, he does that a lot. And some of the stuff is like, man, his numbers would have been better if the quarterback would have been more accurate. I'm seeing him, run some deep outs, some corner routes. And it's like, man, he's cooking guys and just bad throws. I'm like, man, this dude, like, I think he's a dude. I think he's like a legit guy for the NFL, man. Like, I think he could be that.
What's good about him is he ends up being the guy 5 years down the line. Like, oh, how the hell did he go in the third or fourth round? It's because of his size.
Absolutely.
That's really it. I mean, that's why he's not going to be. Yeah, that's why he's probably even small school, but that's why he's not going to be a first round pick, which is good for a team like us who could see like, oh man, this dude just balls, because AB was what 5'10", so small school too. We drafted him in the sixth round, so I would be interested in him, not only for those reasons, but I do think he could fit in too. Now Christian Watson would be a different kind of guy who could fit in with our receiving core, but we could have Deontay and Claypool on the outside, and this dude be working the slot, almost like what we were talking about with Cole Beasley.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really interested in this dude too, because you're right.
And he would be a lot cheaper than Cole Beasley as well, because Cole, you're still gonna have to sign him to a couple of millions because he's proven. But Sky, you're drafting this guy; he's a cheaper player.
Tough.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, like if he makes some of those combat catches that you're seeing on tape and as physical as he is, like Pittsburgh's gonna love him too.
No question.
From here, as you mentioned,
question, man. Yeah.
So as small and quick that he is, he could get in and out of the breaks and get open for some of the shorter routes. He does make combat catches down the field, kind of like Steve Smith back in the day.
He does. That's what I'm saying. Like, you watch him, and it's like you can see some of the framework, some of the foundation of a Steve Smith, of an AB type, and it's like, can he grow and develop into that? I don't know just yet, because those guys are future Hall of Famers in their own right. But you can see some of the remnants of it in his game, and that's the part for me where it's like, if you have this, I know how AB worked like a madman to develop to where he's at now. Or not currently now, because now he's on tour with Kanye. But before he went on tour with Kanye, it's like, man, I saw how hard he worked to develop his craft. So it's like, man, could Sky be a similar guy like that? To me, it's worth the intrigue, because he has a ton of the prerequisites for him to be a really good receiver in the NFL, man.
What has happened there?
I don't know, bro.
Like it's
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I've been trying
it's
to
like
stay away
Kanye
from it,
stalked that down. Like
bro. I don't
he's
know.
doing music. Like, are we
I
gonna
don't
see
know.
the AB Kanye
Yeah.
collab?
I don't know. I mean, because didn't we get an AB and Rick Ross collab? And the crazy thing is,
Yeah.
most of the time you would think like, oh, Rick Ross is on the song, it's going to be a hit, and I can't even tell you Ross's verse. Like, so it's like, oh man, it's just one
Like,
of the
cause don't
days,
we?
man.
Isn't Kanye? He's like the
Yeah.
self-proclaimed like artist, man.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah, so
To get AB on a track,
yeah.
can't we all admit AB's like not that amazing at music?
I would agree. I would agree.
He's got like the whole lot of money song. I like that catchy song, but everything
catchy,
else, like
yeah.
like to have Kanye
Yeah,
collabing with you potentially. I don't know if they're actually going to do a
Yeah.
song, but you said he's on
I don't
tour
know.
with them. Is this a real thing?
Well, no, because they're business. He works for him. He's the president of like Donda Sports.
Yeah, Donda Sports.
So it's like, I mean, they clearly are business partners in some capacity, you know, or he's the employee. But no, if he's president of the company, they you know, he's got to be up there. So yeah,
Maybe Kanye draws the line there. I don't know.
it just killed me
I
because
don't
they
know.
dress it like now. I said, man, I ain't never seen AB dressed like that. But it's all good, you know. Everybody different. So
Hey, real quick with Sky Moore, what do you
Uh-huh.
think of this comparison? Golden Tate.
Okay. I can get behind that. I think Golden Tate was a little bit thicker, a little bit to me, but I can definitely see that though.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
read it on one
I
of the
can
mock
definitely see
draft
that.
sites.
No,
Golden
I can definitely
Tate.
see that, man.
But then I looked up Golden Tate highlights in college. Dude, he was so good in college.
Yeah, absolutely.
Golden Tate was unreal in college.
Mhm.
So that's a
What does that
tough
do, bro?
comparison.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, if you're talking in the realm of like Golden Tate, Steve Smith, AB, if he could be some type of like
That's what
light
I'm
version
saying,
of
like-
Steve Smith, AB, maybe Golden Tate in the pros, like that's a great
major
pick still.
Absolutely, dude. And we're talking mid round, like, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
could definitely see that. My biggest question with him is just what's his top end speed going to be? Now when we talk about the 40, right? This is what we're talking about, because if he's more of a 4.5, 4.6 guy, well, now I question, can he really survive on the outside? I think he has to only play slot. But if he come in there and thinking at 4.4, now you're saying to yourself, well, you know what? You fast enough. You can get out there on that outside now. And those are some of the things that I want to see with him. But that goes back to that whole 40-yard dash measure and stuff like that.
He just feels like the perfect third round receiver for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That dude like Deontay,
Mhm.
Emmanuel
Yep.
Sanders, Mike Wallace.
Absolutely, man.
It feels like the perfect guy.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Who's next?
All right. Next up, man, we got to go to Baylor. And we're going to talk about Tyquan Thornton. Now, Tyquan, he was number 9 at Baylor. He's 6'3", 182. 14 games. He had 62 receptions, 948 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Now, when you watch Tyquan, the first thing that jumps off the screen is big speed. This dude can take the top off the defense. When he catches the ball on vertical routes, you are not going to catch him. I can assure you of that. He gets this way in a hurry. I think he high points the ball and displays relatively good hands. And he eats up cushions in a hurry. You see guys play off coverage on him, man, good luck. You see guys play and run coverage, not bump and run, just and run coverage, and he fries them. He is a guy that if you do not put your hands on him, he is going to make your day a living hell. I also think that in terms of what he kind of struggles with, I don't think his hips are as fluid. I don't think that, you know, he changes levels well when he's getting in and out of his breaks, and that kind of limits him. I also think that he's limited in terms of how he runs his routes, or just the route tree that he's able to run. I think that he's definitely a vertical post corner or a stop only type of guy, just because he doesn't change levels the way he needs to. And when I watch him, I think that, you know, he's going to struggle to generate separation versus press coverage. When guys get their hands on Tyquan, he struggles to really become relative and get open. And that's some of the things that I think he needs refinement on. I think that if he works on his releases a little bit better, you can definitely get a lot more productivity out of him, because for the most part, like, he does catch that ball when it's in his vicinity. Even if it's a combat catch, he does typically come down with it. But I just think that there's a lot more meat on the bone for him if he can refine his releases, so that way guys can get hands on him. Because when he was at Baylor, a lot of the DBs that he was facing, man, they would let him free release, and when they did, he would cook them. But you would you cut on the tape against Oklahoma State, and those guys put hands on him. It's a little bit different of a ball game, and that's the thing with him. So, like I said, with him, I like him, but I still feel like he's more of like a Ted Ginn Jr. type of guy, where it's like, you send him.
He had a decent year too.
No, he did. He absolutely did. And Ted Ginn had a nice career when you think about how long he played. But I just think that he's still just a little bit more limited in terms of like what he can do from a route running aspect. And I would want to see that get a little bit more developed for us to really, utilize him. But the big speed is undeniable. He runs by guys, like no question. And you can scheme it up. I mean, you don't always have to have him on the point. If you feel like, he's not the best in terms of releasing versus a press, well, you put him on a bunch and you have him off the ball. You stack him in his alignment so that way the DB can't get hands on him, and now he's able to get that release, and that's how you can just build it in the offense for him. Scheme him to get that free release in a sense. But if he can actually develop, a nice stutter or a nice little, chop off the line with his hands and stuff like that, I think that will really help him a lot more.
Yeah, so I got some of the same stuff as you. It looks like he judges the ball really well in the air. Like he can make those combat catches. He can kind of maneuver. And also when he gets the ball, it doesn't seem like the defenders can get to it. Like he can move well with the ball when he gets it in his hands, get it away from someone trying to bat it away from him. I guess what do you call that? High pointing, I guess, can make contested catches. Yeah, he looks smooth too, man. He kind of looks like Christian Watson, just being smooth out there. I actually thought – well, one, I don't think there's any way he's 6'3". He looks like Deontay Johnson as soon as I'm like, oh, we got Deontay Johnson out there. Right, we got a dude that's like 5'10", 5'11".
But I think like Deontay just moves way better. Yeah. That's funny.
I was like, what? You're right, the speed. Yeah. Now, some of the stuff that I can't really tell, you kind of hit on with like the route running and maybe be a little bit more limited, because everything I was like, man, he just looks good. This guy, I don't know why he's not rated higher, because whenever I'm looking at some of these draft sites, they don't really have him ranked in even like the top 20 or 25. Some people think he's just going to be undrafted. Yeah,
that's the big concern with him. He just has to develop that route running a lot more, because the more I was cutting on tape, and I always like to say I put myself in that position of, if I'm guarding this guy, if I'm coaching up a guy who's going to be guarding him from a defensive coordinator perspective, what do I do to take, what do I do to minimize him? And I'm looking at him and I say, man, I'm telling my corner, you press him every single time. You get hands on him every single time and it won't be an issue. I like I said, I thought Ted Ginn, I thought Mike Wallace types, right? Those type of guys where it's like, what they can do. They're a one-trick pony, but they're great at that one trick. Now, Mike Wallace developed what? He had the little jump back release where he would take off. When he started developing those releases, you saw him really, really, blow up in a sense. But it's like, you got to develop that, because most, like Taekwon, he doesn't have that right now. He doesn't have that in his tool bag. So for him, it's always the same release. And if you're doing the same release over and over, as a defender, you can account for that. You can plan for that. And now I can take that away from you. And if you don't have a B or a C or a D, then you're, null and void for the rest of the day. Yeah. Who we got next? All right. Next guy, man, we got to go down to Florida, to the U. Shout out to Charleston Rambo here, number 11. Transferred from Oklahoma. All right. So he initially started out at Oklahoma, had a year or two with Jalen Hurts. Then from there went over to Miami. 6'1", 185. 12 games played last season, 79 catches, 1,172 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. Now, I ain't gonna lie, man. The more I watch this dude, the more I started to like him even more.
Also, Torch Pitt, over 100 yards in that game.
I tried not to bring up another guy. I was like, he definitely got y'all.
Our game plan was terrible in that one. Bro, I don't know what we were doing, dude. We were just letting the receivers run wide open. It was either we were giving up the wide open screens and they were getting 10, 15 yards a pop, or we were letting them wide open deep for one play touchdowns. I don't know what we were doing.
Yeah, dude. So with him though, man, he's explosive off the line of scrimmage. He's a true outside wide receiver as well. I love his quickness though. You watch his feet, man. His feet are fast. Reminds me a little bit of like Chad Johnson's feet in terms of just how they are constantly it's like typewriters out there. But he also has to take the top off the defense ability, and that really helps him get open on a lot of his stop routes, because people are so cognizant of him running by them. He's able to just run and get you a cool 10 yards, a cool 8 yards, running just a vertical and turn back around. That is definitely in his will bag. Now, he doesn't give us much yak just because he's a thin guy. He's really wiry, so he goes down easily on contact. But I do think that he displays high-end confidence and consistent hands in combat situations. Now, the thing with him is this. He catches with his body a lot, but he also has, like, really good hands. Like, you watch him when he hands catches, and he does it without an issue, but he just...
AB used to do that.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that AB had to work on, because it's not an issue in terms of securing the catch, but it's an issue in terms of being able to get north and south and continue to run and get back to your top speed. Because when you're catching with your hands here, it's like, boom, I'm tucking, I'm already in position, my legs are going, everything's fine. When I'm catching with my body, it just changes your dynamic, it changes your momentum in terms of how your body is moving, in terms of how your legs are moving. So it just slows you down. And those are some of the things that, if I'm a receivers coach for him, I'm just telling him, hey, stop wasting time catching with your body. You don't need to do that. You got great hands. Trust your hands. Just use them every time, and you're going to be a better receiver in terms of creating more yak. I also think that, the fact that he was productive at Oklahoma with the Jalen Hurts, but then also productive in Miami where they were playing the quarterback carousel, I think that's important, because what is our situation right now? We don't know what our quarterback might look like. So I want a guy that can still produce regardless of who's throwing him the ball. And, and Charleston Rambo has definitely shown that. Now, in terms of, how he wins, I think he wins with his acceleration, That's the big part for him that gets him open, because guys were scared of that speed. But I do want to see him develop more route running. He didn't really run a ton of, routes at Miami. Now, granted, he didn't have to. In similar case in Oklahoma. Right. But I want to see him develop more of that, because I do think that he can improve in that aspect. Now, in terms of some more knocks on him, like I said, he's not the most physical guy. He is little. He's, like I said, 6'1", 185. That's thin. And I question if he's really 185 at times when I'm watching him. But in terms of blocking, he's not going to give you a lot there. He's going to get in the way, but
he's going to try. Exactly.
Yeah, he would definitely try. And that's the one thing that we can say, like, give me effort, and he's a guy that would definitely show up and give you that. But he's just, like I said, he's not overly physical, but he knows how to win. He wins in tight quarters. He can combat catch, but he has to get stronger, to me. You know what I mean? Because when you're, a guy that is a blazer like he is, I don't want you going down that quickly. I want some run after. I want some excitement, when you get that rock in your hands. And at times, he doesn't really give you that to the extent that I think he should be giving you that.
I think we just got to draft them for the jerseys.
The Rambo?
Seriously.
Dude, the Rambo's a fire name, by the way, bro. It's a fire
name. That'd be badass, man.
No question, bro.
I wonder how many people are ordering those jerseys as soon as we draft them. Just to have them.
Rambo,
like, I got that hard, Dawson jersey. Like, to have a Rambo jersey would be really badass.
Yeah.
Now, with a dude like him, people got him later rounds, 5th, 6th round maybe. If we drafted him, how would you feel about him versus McLeod, like, right off the bat? Because, we're playing McLeod like 50, 60% of the snaps last year, but you look at the production, it's not there. I wonder how much better even just a dude like this would be coming in and just putting him as the third guy.
Charleston, I definitely feel like comes in, he's an upgrade over Ray. I think just in the sense that...
That's crazy, though. If we did draft him in the 5th round.
I don't think it's too crazy, because Ray wasn't drafted to be a high-end wide receiver either. He was,
Juju
a
was
slash
Juju
returner.
Was hurt.
Yeah.
Fair.
And that was the thing. So, and you remember, this isn't Ray's first year. Ray's been in the league for a couple of years now. He was in Buffalo. It was a similar situation. So that's why, for me, I just think that, man, if Charleston comes in, he could definitely be an upgrade at that position. He definitely gives you more run after catch, even though I don't think he's elite run after catch, because, like I say, he needs to get stronger. I just think he gives you more than what we see from Ray. But he's a faster player than Ray. I think he's a little bit taller than Ray, if I remember correctly. Also, with him being 5'1", I think Ray is probably like a little bit 5'9", 5'10". So with that, like I said, I just like what Charleston does. And Charleston has legitimate capability to develop on the outside. I think, like I said, he has to just refine his route running, because we've seen guys like him. Like I said, man, Chad Johnson, right? Think about how his footwork, like when you watch his feet and you watch Chad's feet, it's like, yo, okay, I see similarities here, but how do I develop it to that? How do I get it to that? But he already has that prerequisite already. And that's my part. When that's why I say to myself, okay, in the right system, right coaching, he's not going to have to come in here and be the guy day one. You got Deontay, you got Claypool. So you're going to be able to let him develop and come along. And then, who knows, in 2 years, maybe 3 years, now he's shown that he can be on that outside. That's the type of guy that I'm just interested about, man.
Yeah. Little development, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened with AB. Yeah, he didn't play at all really his rookie year.
Yeah.
Did not.
But then you look where he developed to, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows? Fifth or sixth round flyer. I like what I see from college, so I don't think it's the worst thing if we took him around there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like if we took like Watson in the 2nd, or Sky Moore in the third or something, and also
Well,
take
then,
another
you know,
receiver late. I don't know if
right.
I'd like that as
I
much.
don't. Yeah, I agree with you on that. If we're taking one of those guys we talked about earlier, yeah, we don't need a Charleston. I think that you don't double dip receiver because it's not the biggest need. You still got Deontay, you still got Claypool. But if we don't get
These
a receiver,
are all options at least. We're going
right.
like through the tiers. Like if we're gonna
Yeah.
go second, all right, this guy ain't bad. I'm liking what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these dudes outside of Penning, really, maybe there's been another dude or two I actually really like, and I wouldn't mind drafting. I think that's the crux of everything that we're getting to right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm liking some of these suggestions people are bringing in.
Yeah, and I was going to say, man, to the chat, man, awesome names, man. Y'all keep sending us the names. Like I said, the email address is moatswinners@gmail.com because I'm Moats and y'all are all winners, and it's at gmail.com. If you want more players broken down, you keep sending those names in there. We will keep breaking down these players, watching the tape on them, and let you know our opinions on them and how we think they could fit the team, you know? And I know even some of y'all have even been emailing topics that you guys want discussed as well. Y'all continue to do that also, and I'll make sure that we filter those in throughout this all-season time frame as well, because this is an all-interactive show. You know what I mean? It's not just us talking to y'all. No. It's a creative process. We do this together, all right? So remember that. All right.
Hey, real quick before we get to the last guy.
Yeah.
We got a take in the chat.
Thomas
Riley. I want to see your take on it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "I'd take Arthur Moats over Bud Dupree. Who you taking?"
Oh man, that's my dog. Come on, man. I love Bud, man.
Who you taking?
Man, man. Bud got the juice, man. That's my dude. I love Bud, man. I don't talk bad about my guys like that, man. Bud's my dude, man. Yeah, I remember Bud's my young boy. The same way Vince to Devin Bush, that's how I feel about Bud. I remember when Bud was getting highly criticized early in his career. People was calling him a bust, and I remember him, being pissed at times. I'm like, no, dude, you're good. Like, don't trip on this, man. Like, forget what these people are saying, man. You got this, bro. So for me, man, I'm happy as heck to see that man go out there and get paid, get his double-digit sacks, and hopefully he can get back to that form as well in Tennessee, man. So now, Bud got the juice, man. Bud, 6'4", 260, and all that good stuff too, man. Come on now. Okay,
I'm just a little back and forth in the chat. Some people are taking you. Some people are taking
I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a YouTuber. Don't worry about me. No, Bud, that's my dude, though, man. Always got big love for Bud, man. Yeah.
What we got for this last guy?
Yo, what y'all be talking about in the chat? Me versus Bud. How did y'all even get on this?
No, it was Thomas Riley. He just unsolicited
crazy.
Says, "I'd want Arthur Moats over Bud Dupree."
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I'm flattered. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any chat going on before that. No, some people are. No, they're talking about Bud a little bit, so maybe that's what made them think of it.
Because I know earlier I saw something like Jarvis in there, and I'm like, all right, I ain't even tapping into that. Jarvis, that's the homie. I'm not messing with y'all over there. I know how this goes. Oh, that's funny, man. That is funny. All right. So the last player that we're going to talk about today, man, this dude lit it up at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Was actually the MVP of the Shrine Bowl game. Ivy League guy from Brown. E.J. Perry, quarterback, 6'2", 210. In 10 games this season, 3,034 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Now, like I said, man, lit it up at the Shrine Bowl was a big reason why his team actually almost won the game. They were down like 3 scores at one point until he got in. When I watch EJ, though, I think that he is very, very competitive. I think he's a gamer to the true nature of that name. I really think he trusts his ability. Sometimes it's to a fault, and I think that's why his interceptions
14 picks.
Yeah, I think that's why his interceptions were as high as they were, but that's also a product of the talent that was around him. He didn't have a go-to guy. He didn't have a dog out there at receiver, and it was reflected when you look at his stats. I mean, some of these games, he's 30 for 50, but he's hitting 10 plus different receivers. It's like, bro, this is crazy. I didn't know you had 10 people that could catch on your team right now. You know what I mean? But like, that's the type of guy that he is. I think that he's very good with his mechanics, though. You watch him in the pocket, footwork, always good. Eyes always downfield, and his release point when he's throwing that ball is very, very consistent. It looks pro ready in that vein. We know he's a smart guy. He's an Ivy League guy. Last Ivy League guy I played with, still playing in the league. Shout out to Ryan Fitzpatrick, baby. Hey, let's go. But I also think that, the thing that really separates him from some of these other smaller school quarterbacks or some of these mid-tier guys that we've been discussing is his accuracy and ball placement. You watch him when he throws that ball. Not only is he accurate in terms of who he's trying to hit, but the ball placement is always where it needs to be. It's very, very consistent. And at times, he's displayed NFL level, like elite arm strength at times. You watch him in that Shrine Bowl. Man, he has a throw. That left hash, outside numbers, 20 yards, defender draped on a rope. Hits the receiver in stride in his hands. It made me jump out my seat, dude. I was like, whoa. Because you just, like, watching him in, his regular games, you don't really see a lot of that. But part of it is because he doesn't have the athletes around him to even run routes like that. But you would see flashes of it. But then you see in that game, I'm like, dude, that throw, that is high level. That's elite arm talent if you can make that throw like that. But the question is that an outlier? Is that really in his tool bag? And that's the part where it's like you really don't know, because I guess I just didn't see a lot of that. But he's definitely a dude, man, that, I mean, if we're comparing him to like your Duck Hodges, Bailey Zappies, those caliber guys, like, I like him over them because I do think he's a more accurate, more polished version. I think that, even if he is a undrafted guy, or even if he's a 7th round flyer, I think that, man, he still comes in and he gives you something to at least feel a little bit good about. Like, man, think Duck, for crying out loud, came in and won us games. Duck beat out Mason Rudolph for how many weeks when he was out here? And I do think that EJ is a better version of that. I think that he also has sneaky mobility. You watch him in the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
He can escape. He can run. He's tough. Like, yeah, I do like them a lot, man. I thought that he does some good things, man. And like I said, for me, though, it was more so just the ball placement and accuracy, because if you're not going to have the prototypical size, I need to see you be able to have another defining characteristic. And his accuracy and ball placement is that. The mobility is good. It's not great. It's not going to wow you, but he definitely moves. I think he moves better than Mason and Haskins, yeah. So for me, I definitely think that, he's a later round guy, like I said, 7th or undrafted guy, but it wouldn't surprise me if he comes and he's on your practice squad, and then, something happens, you're in a bind, and he has to come in there for a game or two. I think that he is that type of guy that could still steal you a game or two if you needed him, almost like a Tyler Heineke. He's another guy that came up to me, when I think of EJ.
Yeah, and he's actually been a halfway decent starter. Like,
he has, yeah.
I don't know if you want him long term, but he's kind of like a gap quarterback for Washington right now. I mean, they obviously are looking for a quarterback this offseason.
But that's the question.
What I'm saying is, like, he's not terrible.
And Washington is still deciding if they want to even pay Tyler, because Tyler has shown, I mean, even in the playoffs, remember, he went head to head with Tom Brady a year ago, and he looked good. He was having dudes right in the moment. So he was another small school guy from ODU. So when you think about EJ and these are his type of player comps, it's not something that it just, you turn your nose up at. It's like, no, these dudes are still good in some route or in some right. And if that's, what you get out of a late round pick or an undrafted guy, then yeah, that's not a bad thing at all.
And compared to these other quarterbacks that people have going later, maybe you look at the rankings, I think they have Zappy. Oh, man. Where do they have him at? They have him in like 5th round range, between 5th to 7th.
Yeah.
I think after you're like top 6 or 7, then you have Zappy. There's like a drop off, I think.
It definitely is.
I would have this guy in that mix over Zappy.
I do.
Because I like his size better. I think he's got better arm strength, and then also faster. We see the mobility. We see the rushing yards, the touchdowns there, and even what he was doing in the Shrine Bowl to get them back in the game. Like, that was needed, some of that mobility.
And that was versus better competition, because that was the question, right? Can EJ do this against better competition, not Ivy League guys? Because you watch him versus the Ivy League guys, and it's like that those guys aren't playing on Sundays. But the Shrine Bowl was a good barometer, and he passed that test, whereas Bailey Zappi in the Senior Bowl, remember, we felt very different leaving the Senior Bowl after watching him. We were like, man, he kind of struggled a little bit. It wasn't as good as we thought it would be versus the better competition. So for me, that's another reason why I really lean a little bit more to EJ over a Bailey Zappi right now, because when we saw both of those guys versus legitimate competition, one rose to the occasion and the other one kind of faltered a little bit.
I feel like we should be scouts, man.
Hey, man. Maybe one day we will, man. Listen, man.
What I'm saying is I would be interested to see how this draft board plays out, because I don't think there's any way you could watch Bailey Zappi. And now you could look at the numbers and say, oh, man, I think he's a better flyer to take in the 4th or 5th round over a dude like EJ Perry.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way.
Right. Unless you, like you said, unless you're just solely looking at the numbers and saying, "Hey, this number is crazy. He played at Western
Yeah,
Kentucky."
the system that he
That's
had
it.
in Western
Yeah,
Kentucky, those
that's
gaudy
it.
numbers and stuff. It's like,
Hmm.
bro, I don't know. EJ Perry looks like he translated a
Hmm.
lot better to the pros.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I said, man, I just love the consistency with his footwork. I love the consistency with his footwork, his arm release, and his eyes are always downfield. I think he sees the field really well, and that's a huge benefit, a huge asset for him, man.
The question is, though, who sent in the EJ Perry suggestion?
Bruh. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man.
It had to have been him. It was either him or a family member.
I gotta look at the email again, bro. It might have said ejperry at gmail.com. It might have been. He's like, yo, I need to get on the radar a little bit more.
If it is, you know what? You want to get your buzz out there? You want to get some hype out there? I don't blame you. You got to believe in yourself.
You a fool, bro. You a fool. Look, it killed me because when I went to even try to find actual game tape, not highlights of, I'm like, dude, this film just looked rough to watch. I'm like, yo, Ivy League, y'all couldn't get no HD camera up there, bro. I feel like I'm looking at the old school VHS watching the film, man. But
I think those are some good comps too. Heineke. I mean, I obviously have Fitzpatrick being an Ivy League guy.
Right, but
and
Fitzpatrick
looking back at his numbers,
he's the high end of the Ivy League guys, though, to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking back on his numbers, they weren't gaudy at all.
Not at all.
His team did really well. So I don't think EJ Perry's numbers got to be extremely gaudy because, as you mentioned, the talent around him. But maybe just clean up the picks. But you could see the arm talent being there. You could see the speed, like you said, with the dropbacks, the feet, his eyes, all that stuff's there. We're breaking all this down. It's like, what are the big negatives right now? It's just really a competition.
Absolutely, competition, and he's 6'2". He's a shorter quarterback. That's the big part for me. But I could easily see, like you said, man, him with better talent around him with the actual guy at receiver. I think that he's going to be able to utilize that way more than him having to force the ball in certain situations because he doesn't have elite talent around him while he was at Brown. That's why I think the interceptions were what they were for him.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be a terrible flyer.
Yeah. Now let's go UW. He I think he just put a chat in as well. Oh man, I think it was something about Perry as well. If I couldn't
he's got a couple. He's got a couple right now. You want me to read those two off? Because then we also got another one from Black and Yellow Texas Steel.
Yeah.
But his two are...
Because, but I say we're going to have to get ready to wrap it up in a little bit since I got to get ready for enlightenment.
100%.
It's almost more than meditation time.
Well, I'll go with his most recent one, actually, because it's on topic. He says, alternately, Perry could be a guy who sits for a year or two and develops, and that was me that sent it to Moats. Let's go, UW.
Oh, shut up. Let's go. Okay. Man, see, I couldn't remember. I was like, man, I'm looking at these emails, and y'all do a great job of sending emails, but at times I'm like, bro, it's a ton of emails. And I love it.
Let's go, UW is like the podcast scout for us.
No, he is, though, man. He didn't put
He's
Chad
bringing up all these low-key guys.
You're right. It was because he had a whole draft class, and that's what it was. He had 6 or 7 names of guys. Okay. And that's what it was. It definitely was Let's Go. Shout out to you, Let's Go, UW. We appreciate you as well, man.
He also brings up Nevada receiver Romeo Doubs. How do we feel about him?
So I have not checked him out just yet, but
he was in the senior. He had a nice catch or two in the Senior Bowl.
Right. But I want to watch him. If we're going to do it, we're going to watch him before we really give our opinions on him like that, because we know at times if we give our opinion, then y'all be taking it and be like, yo, I don't want to just throw anything out there reckless. All right. So make sure you just send that name to me again through an email though. Let's go UW. So then that way, like I said, I'll be able to go ahead and look into him a lot more, man, and dive into that thing for you so we can get a proper breakdown. You
know who it was that brought up the topic actually, and this was in the super chat. It was Black and Yellow Texas Steel. I gave the credit to Thomas Riley. He actually brought it up in the super chat. He says Moats or Dupree. So that was earlier.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if I'm missing any. I don't know if there's any super chats ahead of him.
Nah, he was the last one. Yes, we're good. Yep. Yes, we're good. So we'll go to this last topic real quick because I can't get up out of here without talking a little USC, okay? So we're gonna do that. We gotta do that. But gotta talk about the man, the myth, the new guy, Islam Machachev. Now, he just had a fight this weekend versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green is always game journeyman, but he's down for whatever, right? He had just won a fight 10 days ago, knocked the dude out. He's nice. But Islam Machachev, man, makes quick work of him, starches him. And Islam has been doing this for a while now, right? 22-1. His only loss came by a TKO where he got caught, and it was still a questionable stoppage. I personally think the stoppage was fine, but he was not out. But the referee stopped him as soon as he dropped it. So people make the debate about that, but this is a dude, man. He is really reminiscent of a Khabib Nurmagomedov in terms of the Sambo style.
Looks exactly like him.
Absolutely, man. His grappling, takes guys to the ground, chokes him out. Like, Khabib is in his corner, for crying out loud.
Literally the beard and the buzz cut, too. I mean,
they look like identical, bro. And it's funny because you're like, oh, man, Khabib dominated for how long? No one thinks that, once he leaves, that it's going to be another version of him coming right back out who's coached by him as well. So the issue, though, is when you're talking about Islam and where he's at, he currently sits at 5 on the power rankings for the lightweight. It's like, man, he really hasn't had to beat anybody in that top 5, but he's essentially in line to fight the winner of Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, which is going to happen in May when they fight for the lightweight belt, and Charles Oliveira gets a chance to defend it. But people are like, man, why does Islam get this opportunity, or should he get this opportunity, or should he have to fight some, better competition? Because it's not that he hasn't wanted to fight better competition. It's more so been that guys have pulled out for injuries. Some guys just don't want to take the fights on short notice. It's a lot of that goes on. He was supposed to fight a guy named Beneil Dariush, who was a really good fighter as well. As a top 4 fighter in the lightweight division. But he got hurt right before the fight happened, and that's why Bobby Green had to step in. But now, because you see Islam dominate him, it's like, man, does Islam surpass or Beneil? Does he, go ahead and just wait to fight for this belt, or should he have to fight some more, higher end talent just to see where he sits with this thing? Now, some of the names that, potentially come up, guy like Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Now, I'm going to tell you first up. I'll tell you straight like this. If you're Conor McGregor, you do not want to fight this dude. I mean, it'll sell pay-per-views, but you don't want to fight this dude because he is a nightmare of a matchup for you. You're not going to catch him. You're not going to knock him out, and it's going to look like Khabib. And now it's going to be your third loss, and it's going to look bad. I'm telling you now. Conor, you don't want that fight.
They're
Michael
talking
Chandler,
about it, though, right?
They are, because that's the big name. And right now, Islam needs a name. He hasn't fought a big enough name just yet. And even though he starts guys like Dan Hooker, he starts guys, like I said, like Bobby Green, he still hasn't had that high-quality signature win just yet. Now, Conor McGregor, for a fact, would be that guy. But McGregor, listen to me. I'm a fan. Don't do that, okay? Michael Chandler, though, I think that's interesting because Michael Chandler has wrestling capability. He can punch. And I think that, versus a guy like Islam who excels in grappling and being able to take guys down and stuff like that, I think it could be a little bit intriguing. Dustin Poirier as well, because you remember Dustin Poirier, when he fought Khabib, he had a chance to beat Khabib. He had him in a submission hole, and Khabib just toughed it out and was able to escape. But for a while, it looked like Dustin was going to pull off the unthinkable. So that's why, for me, I'm like, I could see Islam fighting Dustin, but for Dustin just fought for the belt. So I don't know if he wants to fight Islam versus just waiting to see, hey, who wins between Charles and Justin Gaethje and trying to fight for the belt again. I don't know how they're going to play that since that fight just happened, like I said, a couple of months ago. But Michael Chandler is the one for me that I would really want to see Islam go against. I don't want him versus Conor. I think for Conor, it sells to be a big pay-per-view, but it's going to be terrible for Conor.
Oh, especially with the connection to Khabib.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to see him in the corner. He's like, oh, no. it's him again.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even got to fight this time, though.
Right. And that's the only thing, man. It really makes me concerned. But the 10-win streak that he's on right now, it's hard to deny that. And when you look at his only loss, it was, he fought a guy, Adriano Martins. Adriano Martins was, he could grapple to the same level of Islam. And it made them two guys really just go to more striking and kickboxing. But in that vein, that's where Adriano was able to catch Islam and just sit him down. And like I said, the referee jumped in as soon as he knocked him down. I think he would have stopped him anyways. But as a whole, it was just, you got that question mark around him. I just don't see that happening to him again because he was so much younger then also, man. Like now he just looks more seasoned. His fighting style, he's a lot more confident in his abilities.
Oh, he dominated that
as
dude.
Much. Yeah,
I watched the fight. I mean, the fight was only like a few minutes long. I watched
it,
the whole
dude.
thing on YouTube. He dominated him.
Absolutely,
And it's
man.
that boring ass Khabib style though.
But it's
That's
so
boring.
hard to beat. But it's no different
Yeah.
when you watch a Floyd Mayweather. It's like people would hate Floyd Mayweather later on in his career, but it was like, man, you couldn't touch him. You couldn't hit him. And he was just winning like that. So when you watch Islam, he fights a very similar style.
Could this
Like I
dude,
said-
is this dude better than Khabib, you think? Could he be?
Well, could he be? Sure. But right now, I'm not going to crown him just yet because Khabib was taking out some killers. And that's, to me, is the difference. Like, you look at some of the guys that Khabib beating, the way that he was beating them, like, man, he was like, it was gory at times how he could pin guys down and just punch them in the face profusely. And that's the part where I just say to myself, like, I don't know, if Islam can develop into that. But I do think Islam is a really good fighter, though. And I think that he needs to be in that title conversation.
Is Khabib coming back at all?
No. Khabib is
he's done.
Yeah, he's thick. He's like probably 30 pounds heavier right now, bro. My man walking around.
How old is it? Like, is this weird?
He's not crazy
Is
old.
this in his prime?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really strange. Maybe he just felt like I did it all.
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
He gets more reward out of coaching.
Mhm.
Maybe that's it. Everyone's different.
Well, and I know when his father passed away, that was a big deal for him too. He said, when his father passed, he really didn't want to fight anymore. And then he said, all right, he will fight one more time for like, as a promise to like his dad or whatever before he passed away. But that was like kind of it for him. So that's why I was like, I can understand him really not trying or really not having a desire to come back and train, because there's a difference between coaching and actually competing. Like, even if I came back to coach, it's a different requirement for me versus you physically putting your body through the rigors mentally, as well as having to get your body in fighting shape. And that's the part where I can see, him just not really having a desire to do that consistently anymore, man.
Yeah, there's a reason the players get paid more, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
We got this big time super chat.
Oh man, I didn't even see that, man. Go ahead, you rock that out, and then after that, man, we will get ready to, get up out of here because it's past my time.
They're knocking on the door.
Absolutely. I got my do not disturb sign up there. I got my do not disturb sign, so it's helping me out. But I just got a text. I'm like, all right.
AJ Martinez dropping 50 bones.
Big
God
talk.
bless you both. Peace.
Greatly appreciate
Thanks,
you,
bro.
man. No, greatly
Thank you.
appreciate you, AJ. Really, really from the heart, man. We appreciate you.
I think that's it.
I like it, man. No, dude, this was a good show today, man. Shout out to the fact that technology actually cooperated with us today as well, man. We know we had a little bit of issue going on last show, so we appreciate y'all for sticking with us. But shout out to everybody that was with us this morning, man, rocking with us, East Coast, West Coast, US, or abroad. We always appreciate you. And until next time, baby.
Peace.